figure out who you are. Who cares about anything else? It doesn't matter. Just figure out who you are, because that sets up the road for everything, in my opinion.
Hey everybody, welcome to episode 35 of the Andrew Deitch podcast. It is a lovely Sunday morning here, and I'm trying to upload this episode as fast as possible since I'm running super late and have been procrastinating like crazy. So let's just jump right into this. My guest today is a guy that I've known for a very long time, around 10 years I think, Jon LaVaccare. Jon is an extremely talented drummer and musician. He's toured with bands around the country. He's even played overseas in London, which is pretty dope. And I've always really respected his nuanced and balanced approach to all kinds of issues. And he's someone I've always really respected musically, as well as just a friend, you know? And we always have awesome conversations. He shared a lot of really cool stories about his upbringing and how he got into music. And at the end, we ended up talking about culture and all kinds of other stuff. So Jon's a super cool dude. I'm really glad I was able to have him on as a guest. So without any further ado, please give it up for my friend, Jon LaVaccare. We're live.
We're live.
We're live, man. So, Jonathan, Johnny, Jon.
Jon.
Do you go by Jon nowadays?
I do.
That's like the definitive?
Yeah, changed in high school. I just changed it. Got tired of Johnny when I was in middle school, so I just changed it.
And you never really went by Jonathan, probably, except for like your parents?
There's a few people that call me Jonathan. It's like refreshing in a way Jonathan. To hear Jonathan. All my family, all my sisters, and my mom and my dad, they all refer to me as Jonathan. But yeah, it's sort of refreshing sometimes. I have some friends that are just like, I'm going to call you Jonathan. I'm like, okay, I'll take that. So.
Yeah. It's weird because I never went by any nicknames. Like when I was growing up, my parents were like thinking about calling me Drew.
Yeah.
But then they just always said Andrew, and then it never stuck. But there's like a few friends that'll call me Drew.
Wow. Yeah, I would never think that at all.
I know,
you
isn't
don't
it
really
weird?
Look like a Drew to me.
Yeah, Drew is like a different name than Andrew.
Yeah.
It's weird. Like
it's
when
weird.
you meet a Drew, it's like a different name.
Yeah.
I guess because Johnny and Jon, they all are the beginning, but Drew is the end, so it's just kind of weird. But anyways, because the other night when I saw you, I was like, I think I said Johnny, and I was like, he probably doesn't go by that anymore.
No, dude, it doesn't bother me at all.
I know, but that's like what I remembered calling you like in high school and stuff.
Yeah.
But anyways, man, so this is my buddy Jonathan LaVaccare. That's how you say your last name, right? Or is it LaVaccare?
No, you said it right first time.
LaVaccare?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And I've already, like, you said you listened to a couple of the podcasts, so like in the beginning I'll already kind of like intro you a little bit and stuff.
Cool.
But, you know, this is a common theme that I've kind of started on this podcast is we tend to think of people as like the person that they are right now. But I've known you for a while,
right.
So I kind of have seen the progression, but I also didn't really know you when you were like super young, so kind of give me like the history of Jonathan.
The history of me, wow. So basically you and I had pretty similar pathways growing up, I think.
You were born here?
I was born in Peachtree City, actually, and then we moved to like Miami for a little while and Tampa, and then we moved back here to Alpharetta, and we've been here ever since. We've been here for like 12 or 13
Why'd you guys
years.
move to Miami?
I think it was just a job opportunity for my dad, probably.
What does your dad do again?
He works in the hotel industry, so he's a hospitality guy. He's like a director of sales and marketing. Yeah, so my family and I, we used to travel a ton. So my dad used to actually be on the road going to different hotels and resorts that was like his job. He used to train people. So he used to train staffs on how to treat guests, at 5-star hotels. So
wow.
Every once in a while he would just bring us with, you know, and he would basically like work for free if we could stay, which is really cool.
Huh.
And so we got to go to some really, really cool places.
Yeah, I'm sure if he's training at 5-star hotels.
Yeah, there's definitely some really, really nice ones. So that was really cool.
What was like the coolest one, if you can remember, or like
I think
whatever.
My favorite one is the Greenbrier in West Virginia. There's like a big golf tournament there. There's like the Greenbrier Classic or whatever. I don't know anything about golf, but I know that goes on there. But It's like this. It's like this huge mansion type of looking place. It's a big white building, kind of looks like the White House. And the last time we went there, somehow he got this crazy deal to where we were staying in the president's house, which they have a house specifically for U.S. presidents when they come there.
What?
Yeah, which is just yeah. So and like
because you've heard of like the presidential suite or whatever,
right?
But
this
is
a house
reserved for the president.
Yes. And so we got there, and this thing is like 3 times the size of my house, and like maybe built in like early 1900s, turn of the century, like beautiful house. And it was actually a blizzard when we got there, so we drove like through the night to West Virginia on these like bridges while snow was just going. Like, yo, it was scary.
Yeah.
But, so we got there at like 3 a.m, and we had like, we're from here, and we never did skiing or anything, so we'd never seen snow like at all, and it was just like 3 or 4 feet of snow. And so that was it, and you know, that place is just great. It's gone a little. I think it's gone a little downhill now. They like built a casino in the basement or something,
That's weird.
and so that's kind of always, you know, gets whenever you put a casino anywhere, it just gets a little lower.
Yeah, it gets a little seedy.
Right. I don't know if they still have the 5-star or anything, but yeah, I'd say that's definitely my favorite place. Like,
That's cool.
I would go back there just to like, you know, the nostalgia. But
Yeah, that's cool.
yeah,
That's really awesome. So you said your dad like trains people on how to treat people. So I've met your dad, I think, before, just like a couple of times, but he's always a really nice guy. But I'm assuming
right.
that he obviously knows how to treat people
He
really
does.
well. That's just kind of like how he lives.
Yeah, well, his whole thing is it's not what you say, it's how you say it. So, which is true, you know.
Totally.
But so when he would train people, like we would even go to different hotels, and by the way that they would talk to us, we'd know that he trained them based on like, because I know like I've read some of his training or whatever, and so like certain phrases and stuff that they would say, like, let's see, like, my pleasure to serve you, or like, certainly, that was one, you know what I mean? Like, you don't hear that a lot unless you're like at a really, really nice, like, certainly, sir, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
really like trying to make it a little bougie, so.
Yeah, totally. That's funny.
Yeah.
I heard that like the reason why Chick-fil-A says my pleasure is because True and Kathy stayed at the Ritz-Carlton, and that's what they said there.
Interesting.
And he like caught on that, and he was like, I'm going to implement that. So that's
Yeah.
why like now everyone says my pleasure.
Interesting.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool.
He worked there for a while too.
At Chick-fil-A?
No, at the Ritz-Carlton.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's funny. That's really cool. Yeah, Ritz-Carlton, I feel like, is just so legendary.
It is.
Like, if you ever get the opportunity to stay there, you're like,
Oh yeah.
Ritz-Carlton.
Oh yeah.
That's really cool, man. Yeah, because I don't really know much about that industry, like the whole, hospitality. I feel like a lot of hospitality is just like being generally a good person,
Right.
And also, like you said, how you say things, because it's so funny to me how a lot of people, they'll say things like, oh, why does shit always happen to me, or like, why does
Right.
bad stuff always happen? And it's kind of like, well, when you're interacting with other people, you're only putting yourself in your own shoes. Like, you're not thinking why that
Right.
person's reacting to what you said.
Absolutely.
Maybe it's because you said it a weird way, in a confrontational way.
Right.
You could be like, why'd you wear that? Or be like, oh, why'd you wear that?
Right. Yeah. It just comes down to like self-awareness, really. Like,
Yeah.
you just gotta. I mean, I think that anybody that's decently self-aware a lot of the time, like, if I say something that's like pretty confrontational on accident, I'll be like, dang it, like I shouldn't have, like, my bad. I didn't mean to say it like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which happens to everybody. But yeah, I think that's funny. But it's true.
And it's now with this podcast, like, I'm listening to myself constantly. So I'm trying to be better at how I'm saying things. Because sometimes when I'm listening to the recording, I'm like, shit, I sounded like an asshole a second ago. Like,
Right.
when I said that, I didn't mean it like that. But it's weird when you're re-listening to yourself, because you're kind of going through that train of thought, but then you're also able to run a new train of thought simultaneously. And so you're like, I said that offensively or weird or whatever. So.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But that's really cool. So I'm sure, obviously, like, he was training people to do this in jobs, so I'm sure that rubbed off on you a lot, like, growing up.
Maybe. I mean, I think my parents have always been very good at teaching us to be polite and stuff like that. But, I mean, I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so. I don't really know.
Yeah. It's cool, like, also talking to people on the podcast about, like, you know, how they grew up and stuff like that. Because you can, there's a reason why, like, in therapy, they always go back to the very beginning. Because you can pick up on things. You're like, oh, that kind of makes sense why you're that way. Or,
right.
like, it makes sense.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. It is crazy how much you're molded from just a young age and how much it can affect you.
That's the biggest time, man. That's like, especially for like traumas and stuff like that. It's all about when you're a child. You know what I mean?
Totally.
Because you think you get over it. You know what I mean? Like for a while, and then you realize, whoa, like maybe I did not.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And some of those memories you can't even remember them. They still affect you.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
That is really weird. Like, I've heard there's studies about, like, babies being touched when they're young.
Oh, yeah.
And there's, like, so many orphan babies that they're in orphanages and, like, there's just not enough workers to physically, like, hold them all and all that. And
that severely interrupts with brain development.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even there's, like, a higher rate of death when that happens too. Like if you're just
that's crazy
at a young age, if they're just straight up just not touched or held or anything, the babies will there's a much higher mortality rate, which is crazy.
That's why like so for me when I was born like extremely premature, so I was like 3 pounds, so I was in the NICU for a couple weeks, and
I love that show.
Isn't that NCIS? NCIS, NICU? Is that what it is? Did I say it wrong?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Wherever the babies go to the infant ICU, I guess is what it's called. I don't know. I think it's called NICU, something like that.
No, but when you said it, I just thought of NCIS for whatever reason.
Yeah.
No, but that's crazy.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
And so like now,
how premature were you?
Like almost 2 months.
Wow.
So
that's a lot.
Yeah. So
Jeez.
I was like really, really small. But so I had to be separated from my mom for that time because I was obviously very fragile and sick and stuff like that. So one of the biggest things that they implement now is like kangaroo care or whatever, where the nurse literally has to hold you for a certain amount of time a day. Because you just have to have physical touch. You know what I mean?
As an infant. Mm-hmm. Wow.
And my mom did get to come see me and stuff too. And touch me and stuff. So
yeah.
I asked her about that actually a couple weeks ago. Like after I was like learning about that or whatever, I was like, please tell me that you like were able to come touch me and stuff. Like I hope this isn't me dealing with this in some way or whatever. It's gonna having attachment issues or something like that.
Yeah. That it is very fascinating. It's extremely fascinating, like why that's hardwired into us.
Right.
Because some people like they don't want to be touched, but it's like that's hardwired into us. Like you, at least when you're an infant. Yeah. But so you have an older sister, right?
I do.
Do you have any other siblings? It's just you and her?
I have a younger one as well. She's 17 now.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yep.
So you guys are a couple years apart, 3 years apart?
Mm-hmm. My older sister's 26, so I'm right in the middle.
Nice.
Yep.
Cool. So how was it living in a house of girls?
It was different. Like, from all the people that I know that have brothers and stuff, because most of my friends do have brothers. And so that's a lot different, you know what I mean? But at the same time, like, I appreciate it. Like, I think it was cool. I think I learned a lot.
You understand a lot more about girls.
I do.
That's for sure. I'm kind of jealous in that regard because, I had a younger brother. I was the oldest. So, like, I feel like having an older sister is cool because you get to see a lot of, like, how girls...
yeah, for sure.
For sure. Live and react and stuff. Because that's one thing that... I would say my mom is like not a very typical like girly girl type of girl.
Gotcha.
So she's like very independent, very not necessarily like masculine or anything, but like I don't know, just not the typical girl. So when I meet girls that are just super like high maintenance and crazy, sometimes I'm like, I cannot deal with this. I don't know how to deal with this. I'm out. Peace out. Yeah,
for me, like I definitely know how to deal with it. It's just more so I just don't want to.
Exactly.
Because especially when you live with girls, you hear a lot about other girls as well. and you hear, oh, that person's super high maintenance, or John, like, if you're dating someone, please don't date someone high maintenance just for your sake. You know what I mean? And like, even I'll think that like my sisters or my mom are high maintenance at sometimes, but like they're not. You know what I mean? Like, until you meet one and they'll even be able to be like, she's really high maintenance. You know what I mean? And I'm like, is she? And they're like, yeah. Can't you tell? I'm like, no, not really, not yet.
Not yet.
And they're like, I can just tell by the way she was talking. And I was like, oh, that's good to know. Yeah.
They've got a sixth sense for that.
They do. They definitely do.
That is something weird that, like, you know, I'm generalizing here, but a lot of girls, they tend to have a weird sense for stuff that a lot of times I just haven't, I can't even pick up on it.
Right.
And it's strange how, you know, no offense to anybody out there, I'm not talking about anyone in particular necessarily, but even some girls that I would consider, like, not the smartest girl as far as, like, you know, school or I don't know, whatever, but like they have this, sometimes they pick up on stuff and you're like, whoa, like you're smarter than I thought you were. Like you picked up on that. Sure. I had no idea. You know, it's kind of weird.
Yeah, totally. It's also really funny to me to see like those things, like when they're wrong about those things. Cause like if someone's like, first of all, like they're, you know, if like someone's really empathical or whatever, or someone like is really good at like reading someone's body language, sometimes you are wrong, you know what I mean? Which is really funny. And so, like, growing up in a house of women, they do all definitely have that sense, but then sometimes you realize that it's not true. And that's where, like, all that weird conflict comes from, you know what I mean? Because you're like, that's not, you're reading into this, like, in the completely wrong way.
Yeah, like, there's a weird thing about kind of, like, speaking things into existence, or, like, I was talking last night with this girl about this. We were talking about like horoscopes and like the signs and stuff. What are those called?
Astrology
and all that stuff. And now because we were talking about, she was like, "Are you into that kind of weird stuff?" I'm like, "No, not that regard. Like sometimes I can kind of buy into some weird like juju weirdness a little bit, but that is like a little too much of a stretch for me."
Yeah.
But what I was saying was like when you read the horoscopes and stuff, it's like, number one, who's writing them?
Oh,
like,
no, you'll never know.
A random person that's no smarter than you or I. Number two, when you read that, a lot of the things are things that are relatable to virtually everybody.
Oh, and they're also a lot of the time extremely positive, and so you want to believe them about yourself. You know what I mean?
And then you project it upon yourself, and you can use it as a crutch. Like, oh well, I'm short-tempered because I'm a Pisces.
Right? Yeah. It's like,
it's like giving you an excuse for your downfalls.
Oh,
like,
totally.
Like, or you know, people do it all the time too. They're like, oh, I'm always getting angry. I'm Italian or something like that. And it's like, okay, I get that. Like your family and all the dynamics, and there's definitely genetics there. But like, you're also still a human that can control your actions.
Of course.
Like, you know.
Of course.
So.
Of course.
But anyway, I don't remember exactly where we were going with that.
What sign are you?
I'm a Gemini.
You're a Gemini.
And that was the thing. The girl last night, she was like, "You're a Gemini? You do not. Oh my God, you're not a Gemini."
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, I am. Yeah, but I don't know anything about what a Gemini should be or shouldn't be. So I couldn't even tell you if I act like a Gemini or I don't. I'm just me. So
right, That's very true. That's very true.
And the weird thing, too, is like, okay, what's to separate? It's like the days of the month that you were born.
Exactly.
What if you were born at like midnight on one day? Are you like half and half? Like what separate?
I think so.
That's weird.
I think so, yeah.
I'm a hybrid.
If you're born on leap year or something, you're something special too.
Oh, that's a weird thing. I also heard that there's like some weird thing where now there's different years of it. Like if you were born after a certain time, the stars like change based on different years. So like,
interesting.
If you were born on my birthday, when I was born, you were a Gemini. But if you were born on my birthday,
you're something else,
2 years ago, you're something else now or something weird. I don't know. But anyways, people listening to this are probably like, "You're wrong."
Probably.
I'm not an expert on all that stuff, but anyways, all that to say, basically, we were talking about like when you project an idea onto somebody, like you're reading their body language, so you think they're a certain way, and you project certain things on people. My friends that they were in recovery, they kind of taught me things that they learned in rehab that. A lot of times people are projecting other people that they know onto you because you remind they remind you of them or whatever. So like, let's say you remind me of my friend Corey, and Corey did something shitty to me once. I might project that onto you because you're with me right now.
Right.
And so people might treat you differently because of that.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
Yeah, something that I hadn't really considered, but I could totally see it happening.
Right. That's an interesting bias to have, you know what I mean? Like automatically assuming. Yeah. I mean, we do that all the time. All of our opinions are basically based off of assumption anyway, but
yeah, and the human brain always wants to put people into a box and compartmentalize because then that makes it easy to digest it, and then you don't have to think about it anymore.
Right.
And that's like a common theme that I talk about all the time on the podcast, but it's true. Like you could say, "Oh, well, he's just a drug addict" or something like that. It's like, well, but there's also multifacets to this guy, and he might be a different way. And it definitely comes up in rehab a lot. Like you just want to, people are projecting stuff on you because they know other people that are dealing with similar things, and so they think everyone that deals with those things act the same way, and blah blah blah.
Right.
But anyway, so back to girls. You're growing up you're growing up in a house full of girls and stuff, and then your sister's like older. So did you guys have like a good relationship?
Yeah, I mean, I think we had a good relationship. We fought a lot for sure. She's just a lot different than me. I was always like the really, just kind of the different one of the family, you know?
Different in like what way?
Like, I mean, my sister followed the plan kind of, you know, like went to college and, you know, got a job and stuff like that. And, was more, I guess, of a social person in high school and like kind of cared more about that. And I think our relationship now is a lot better than it used to be.
That's good.
So yeah, that's really good. But so yeah, we're just like a pretty different, you know.
And your younger sister, did you guys fight a lot too, or?
No, my little sister is like just this little creative genius.
That's
like,
awesome.
Just super artistic, super like into fashion and like more of the creation of it though. So like actually sewing and like making things instead of just being like, oh, I went to SCAD, so therefore I'm into fashion. You know what I mean? Or like
SCAD
fashion. I go to the high museum and I wear creepers and like, you know, I wear way too much makeup and like all that stuff. So no, she's not like that. She's not like that into fashion. She's
I'm
more
an art girl.
Yeah, like you don't understand me. You don't get me. You know what I mean? Yep.
There's way too many people, dude. Like going through Instagram, there's some people that I follow, and then I go down rabbit holes of like their friends.
Yeah.
And I think they're all like these specific people I'm talking about. I think they're all just trying to out weird everybody. They're like trying to be as unrelatable as possible. You know?
Oh yeah.
Like I'm gonna try to literally post the most vile stuff on Instagram. Like I'm gonna post a picture of like my cut that's bleeding, or like me brushing my teeth with toothpaste dripping down my chin or something. And it's like, okay, I get it. It's artsy, it's weird, and it's raw, but it's kind of just they're all just trying to out weird each other.
Yeah, I don't know. See, for me, there's people that are just weird, and then there's people that are trying to be weird, and people that are trying to be weird are just annoying because it's so blatantly obvious to anybody that actually either knows somebody really weird or if you are really weird. You know what I mean? It's like, just stop, you know? Like, that's cool that you're like into that scene or whatever you're into, but like,
well, there's definitely a lot of that with like going back to high school. Like we used to be in, you know, going to like Warped Tour and stuff like that with all the like emo and scene bands and stuff. And there's the people that were like deep in it. Yeah. And then there was like total posers.
Right.
And I was in that line where I never like wore the eyeliner or like dyed my hair or like wore weird clothes or anything. So I like still stayed like normal, I guess, quote unquote normal to myself. I wasn't trying to be like accepted by that crowd, but I was still going to those types of shows and stuff like that.
I was the same exact way. For me, like I was huge into that when I was like 15 and 16. Like I was just super into metal, and like I don't know, like as a drummer, I think metal is one of those foundations that can be really, really good for you. Like if you're starting there, which is basically where I started, like, started doing playing Tool and Avenged Sevenfold and like all the hardcore bands.
That's technical.
Yeah, I know, and that's how I like learned how to play, was all of that stuff, and so it created like a foundation of at least I could like have the technical side of drums, and then I like now I'm like play completely differently, but like it's just a progression of stylistic differences and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it was definitely a fun time. Like I was definitely the kid that wore the skinny jeans and had the long hair and wore a band t-shirt every once in a while, but was just really into looking rock and roll all the time, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was kind of the thing that I wanted to be. I guess I still technically want to be that, but
yeah, but I feel like you're a more like chill version of it, where you're not trying so hard. It's that's just kind of who you are.
I'm not trying to be anybody else, you know what I mean? Like back then when you're
trying to be the Rev,
you're trying to be like someone in like a Warped Tour band, you know what I mean? Like wearing the same exact outfits. Like you could literally go to Hot Topic and get the same. You could literally go to Hot Topic and get the same thing. Wear black Vans, really really tight ripped skinny jeans, and like a band T-shirt, and that's what everybody wore.
Yeah,
and a jean vest because that was cool back then too.
Yeah. And also I remember at one point, like, people would write stuff on their jeans, like in Sharpie, like lyrics to songs and stuff.
Wow, that's really cringy.
So cringy, dude.
It is so cringy.
And like people would like write stuff on their backpacks, like lyrics and stuff. Oh my god, it was bad. There was definitely a lot of scene kids at my high school.
Oh yeah.
But that was the thing. It was like, I know I didn't hang out with a lot of them, but I still would like see them at shows or stuff like that, and I'd be like, "That's funny. This kid's in my art class or whatever." Yeah. Like I've seen that kid in the hallway.
Yeah.
But you're talking about being a drummer and stuff. When did you actually start like drumming and getting into music and stuff?
Well, so weirdly enough, like my dad actually bought a kit for me when I was like really, really young. So when I was like 6. And
he hated his eardrums that much?
I guess, but I
feel
didn't
like buying a drum kit for a kid is just asking for it.
Right. But I didn't really play it for like 5 or 6 years. I just like kind of was doing other stuff. And so...
Did he play drums?
No. And so I picked it back up when I was 12 and like got lessons from someone that like went to my sister's high school. He was like a junior in high school, and it's just so weird thinking about like looking back. I used to think that he was so much older, and now I'm like almost 4 years older than he is, which is just really strange. But so I learned.
He was then.
Right, than he was then.
He didn't get frozen in time.
No, he did not get frozen. He did not get frozen in time. But
just checking.
Right.
That happens sometimes.
Yeah, you never know.
Some Han Solo action.
Yeah, some Han Solo action. I mean, maybe he's the same exact dude, just 5 years or 6 years older. He could be basically frozen in his time. You never know.
But the difference between like a 15-year-old and the 20-year-old is a lot different than the difference between like a 35-year-old and the 40-year-old.
Oh yeah, totally. Oh totally.
Like there's a lot of developmental things that happen, and appearance-wise and everything.
Oh yeah. But so I learned from him for a while, and then kind of just like went for it, like just practiced all the time, like and then finally like I finally got my parents to like buy me a new kit or whatever for Christmas one year, and started playing at Perimeter and stuff like that. And just like for me in middle school and high school, like I was like I had like no friends, like real, like I mean actually that's not true. So after freshman year of high school I had friends, because I left my public high school and went to a small school, and I had friends there, and that was great.
I forget, did you go to Perimeter Christian School?
Yeah, from 1st to 8th grade, man.
Yeah, I thought so. Yeah, I went there from 4th to 8th, so
okay.
Yeah, similar. I was homeschooled before that, so even smaller.
Wow.
But yeah, so you went from similar thing as me, going from a really small, private, Christian, very sheltered
hell on
universe.
earth, basically. Yeah.
Yeah. To be honest, I was such a little goody two-shoes kid that I didn't hate it there. Like, a lot of people really just couldn't stand it there. Looking back on it now, I could not.
Yeah. I couldn't stand it there. I was like...
Were you always getting in trouble? I don't really remember.
No, I wasn't a bad kid. Like, I wasn't an edgy kid or anything. I just was like I I was just picked on a lot and like bullied and like just like did not fit in there whatsoever. And so like I just like played drums all the time. That's all I did. And you know, fast forward like 4 or 5 years, I was actually like, wow, I think I'm like pretty good at this now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so that's when I started thinking like, okay, I think this is like what I'm going to do, you know, and started thinking about it and praying about it and stuff. And that is definitely what I feel like I'm supposed to do 100%. And it hasn't changed since 4 or 5 years ago when I, you know, thought I figured that out. Like it still is exactly what I feel like I'm supposed to do.
That's crazy because a lot of people still never figure that out.
Right. Yeah. And I was very lucky to find that at an early age. But at the same time, I will say, like, for me, like, I don't think I've ever, I don't know how you feel about like having kids or whatever, like older. Do you want to have kids?
Yeah, I think so, eventually. I mean, I think about it a decent bit in the sense that in the back of my brain, I always just feel like it's a thing that's going to happen, but I don't think about it on a daily basis of like, you know.
Right.
I it's weird. In the back of my brain, I'm always thinking like, I'm going to teach my kids that one day, or like, I'm going to, or like
that's the same way I am too.
Yeah, I'll see like a really just shitty kid out in public, and I'm like, oh, I'm never going to let my kid be like that.
Yeah.
Even though a lot of times there's
right.
other factors that makes that kid crazy or
right.
whatever.
Right.
But anyways, yeah, I long story short, yes, I feel like it will.
Right, and that's the thing is for me, that's like one of those things I was just like, I got lucky to find that really early, and I would just like, if I ever had kids, I don't know if I will or not, that'd be like all that I want for them is just figure out who you are. Who cares about anything else when you're that young? It doesn't matter. Just figure out who you are, because that sets up the road for everything, in my opinion. If you have a base of who you are, it first of all helps you like not get super mad and angry when people tell you you're someone that you're not, or try to make you into something or push you down this path. But it also makes you not okay with letting people tell you you need to do this, or you need to go this way, or this isn't going to be successful, or whatever. You have to, if you have dreams and you have, you know, places that you want to go, or places that you feel called to go, like a purpose feeling, then you need to be able to not, you know, give in to that stuff. And so I think
self-awareness is huge.
Right. And that's like, I think the biggest thing. That's the reason that I'm looking back on it super happy that I wasn't like a popular kid in middle school or high school. Like, because who cares, man? Like, you know, like those kids aren't doing anything anyway. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know anybody that...
It's weird because when you're in that age and let's say you are like a popular kid.
Right.
You kind of don't have to think about like what you're going to do and stuff, because your life kind of rocks. Like everyone likes you. Your parents are paying for everything. Mm-hmm. You know, especially if you're a popular kid that's smart, I feel like that goes hand in hand a decent bit. Yeah. You know, like you're good at school, so you're probably going to end up going to like the good college or whatever. And then life just smacks you, and you know, all those cool friends that you had are gone, and you've got to figure out how to make money.
Well, the thing that's crazier is, and the thing that you said just then was like, what'd you say? I'm forgetting it, but
like I was basically saying like you don't have to think about anything.
Yes, because your life rocks. Yeah, like I think that goes just in life in general. I think that like, when your life like rocks, like when it's just going great and you don't have to think about progressing or going farther than that, I think is where a lot of people get into the complacent mindset of not ever wanting to fulfill their dreams. You know what I mean? Because you're comfortable. But
and my friend Danielle, she's a counselor, and she was on the podcast a couple episodes ago. One thing that she said was, sometimes for people, the fear of the unknown is scarier than living in the shitty place that you're currently in. Like, so, you know, abusive relationships. if you're stuck in that, yeah, it's terrible. But the fear of leaving that and then having to figure out something else is sometimes scarier than just dealing with the abuse or whatever.
Right. Yeah, which is crazy. I mean, it's kind of like, you can make your, like, or what is it? Hell can get comfy is, the longer that you stay there, it'll finally become more comfortable and you'll start to be able to make your bed and and live there,
and totally. People get trapped in that.
Right. But I also think that without those, at least this is my experience, but without those super, super dark moments and super dark months and couple years that just sucked, that I wouldn't have the same like fire to get out of it. You know what I mean? And I think that's something that a lot of people miss is they don't have the drive to get out of it and push, you know what I mean? And that's all up here. That's all in your head. You know what I mean? That's not, I'm not even talking about like getting physically fit or whatever. I'm just saying like in a life situation of having to, push forward and not, waver. And I think that's one of the most important things, at least for me, is just having the tenacity to just get up every single time. But so middle school, high school.
Yeah. So like in middle school, it was like you were just ready to get out of perimeter, and then you went to Northview?
I did. I went to Northview my freshman year. It was awful.
And you just didn't make friends and stuff? Or?
Yeah, I mean, like I probably had like a few friends, but like no one really. Like, not
it wasn't
real
like if
friends.
you called them up and needed help with something, it was kind of like, I don't know, man. Yeah, it was just acquaintances at school. Yeah,
for sure.
I feel you.
So I was just sick of that. So
And then you ended up going to a smaller school?
Yeah, I went to Legacy Academy, which is where my sister goes now, my little sister, and my mom works there now. So, it's a gem, man. It's a gem.
Where is it?
It's off of Alpharetta Highway. It's right by the Ferrari dealership. It's like across the street. It's in like a work complex or
I've
office
never
complex.
looked at the other side of the street because my eyes are always just locked on the Ferrari dealership.
But it's literally right across the street. It's in one of those business center parking lot.
I swear to God,
things.
I've never thought about that, but I've never looked on the other side of that street just because I'm always locked on the Ferraris.
Why would you? Yeah, why would you? But
That's funny. That's cool. So what was cooler about that school?
Well, it was like really small, and I mean like 9 people in my class small.
Wow.
So
that's
basically like being homeschooled, shorter hours of being there, more just focused on like you as a kid and not necessarily as like, say I literally like could not do my homework or something, they would be like, oh, I understand because I know you and I know what you're doing with your life or you're trying to. And so they give you grace on it the most they could. But it was just super chill. Like it's an accredited school and everything. And I mean, I met some good friends there, and yeah, it was a lot better for sure. Like
that's awesome.
I think
and you went there for the other 3 years then?
Yeah, the remainder. And then my senior year, like basically I just dual enrolled into Georgia Perimeter anyway, so like I was barely ever at Legacy in my senior year, so I just did that. So
nice.
Yeah,
I feel like that's the way to go. A lot of people don't take advantage of that. I didn't, for sure. But I didn't finish college anyways, but
right.
That's a whole other story. But I was gonna say earlier, we were kind of talking about like the self-awareness thing.
Yeah.
Like I had a point and I didn't ever make it, but the crazy thing is like I think a lot of times the basis of people's unhappiness is just the fact that they're deep down inside, they haven't pinpointed exactly what they want to do, which is hard to do anyways because, that's the big question. What do you want to do with your life? All this kind of stuff. But even just boiling it down, like if you had unlimited money, like what is the first thing you would do? I don't know. I haven't thought about that. Well, think about it. Like what would you do? Most people would say travel. Okay, cool. So like if you had unlimited resources and traveling was your number one thing that you wanted to do, and that would make your life a perfect 10, right? If you're not traveling and you're comfortable right now, maybe your life's like a 7. I'd say 7's like good but not bad.
Right.
if you were to take that risk, like what things would you need to do so that you could travel for an extended period of time or whatever? Oh, well, I'd have to quit my job. Okay, cool. Like, how much money would you need to make for a while and maybe sacrifice some things in order to afford to quit your job to travel for a while?
Right.
Oh, I haven't thought about that. You know, like, if you just have to, you kind of just have to really sit alone with yourself and think about what you truly want and boil it down, because most of the reason why we don't ever end up doing fun stuff or cool stuff or living a cool life is like money problems.
I think it's
a lack of motivation.
Yeah, I think for a lot of people though, like all the time, I think it's the biggest thing that people feel held back by. It's the biggest thing that I feel held back by.
Totally,
you know what I mean?
Me too.
Just because there's so much you can do with money, but obviously money doesn't make you happy. We know
totally
that.
Not.
Everyone knows that. Hopefully,
but you typically don't see someone crying on a jet ski or something like that. I've heard.
Right, or crying on their 747 or whatever on their private jet. You know,
exactly. Exactly. That's the thing is, I think that money makes you more of the person that you already are. Mm-hmm. So if you're a shitty person and you got your money through
that's a good point.
Like if you're an evil drug lord or something, more money's just going to make you do more evil things.
Right.
If you're a really positive person and you've provided value to millions of people, that money's just going to expand and it's just going to create more good things.
Yeah.
That's one conversation I had with my brother when we were in Amsterdam, because we were like, dude, we need to move here. Like, this is the coolest place ever.
Yeah.
Like, we got to figure this out. And I was kind of telling him, I'm like, dude, okay, think about it this way. The only way that you can actually make money is if you're providing value to somebody, somewhere in the world.
Yeah.
Like, that's how society works. Like, that's why work is a thing. Like, we're giving back to the community in some way. And the more people or the more value that you can deliver, the more people are going to be willing to pay you more money. Exactly. So you could go the route of providing a small amount of value to millions of people, or you could go the route of providing huge value to like a few people or whatever.
Right.
And like I was talking to him about it, like if you moved to Amsterdam or something like that, yes, you could like, get a green card and whatever and become a bartender and work there. But you're going to provide value to some people there and stuff, and you're going to but the way that they're going to look at it is you're taking away opportunities from Dutch citizens and all that kind of stuff. But if you can create some way that you can provide value on the internet or making some other business that's not necessarily based in Holland, and you're not taking away jobs from somebody there, then I feel like your opportunity to stay there would be kind of increased or whatever. Yeah. Especially if you're making money online, you're not tied to anything necessarily. But that's just something I've been thinking about a lot, especially with this podcast, because people have been giving me a lot of feedback saying like, dude, I really like the podcast, or oh man, that was really awesome, I loved hearing this one. So I'm definitely providing value to people. So I think that my way that I can make money with it is just providing a little bit of value every day to
that's like music. It's the same thing.
Totally.
You know what I mean? And that's why for me that is the biggest. I mean, that for me is more than any sort of money that I ever want, is if you are providing value and kind of solace or just escape to a decent amount of people, like that is a beautiful thing. You know what I mean?
Totally.
And that at least that's what inspired me when I was a kid to just like keep going and keep running and having those people inspire you. You know what I mean? Like for me, every time that I go to a really good show, I get really inspired afterwards.
Totally.
And that's value. That's a massive thing. Is just inspiring somebody can change their life. You know what I mean? And like, I don't know. I just think, like exactly, like providing value to people on a big scale or a small scale. Like, that's why like if I can go live in Europe too, I mean, like I'm not, based here, but I'll just live here and then go on the road and come back and stuff like that. So
music is a weird thing, man, because like making money from music is increasingly becoming
it's very
harder,
difficult.
because music now is almost like expected to be just given to us, because the barrier to entry has been significantly decreased. Like people making digital music, all you need is a computer kind of thing. So there's a lot of people out there that just want their music to be heard, and they don't really necessarily care about the money. So it's kind of like the sheer amount of volume of music that's going out
insane.
is cheapening.
Well, I think another thing that's massive for that is the standard that we used to hold music to is going down as well. Like we just, in my opinion, there's a term for it. Like obviously it's not like a shot at anybody, but so if you're like an artist or whatever, you have to expect that 60 to 70 to 80% of your listeners are musically illiterate. Okay?
Yeah.
So they don't know what's going on. They like it. They like
don't
it.
know what's going
no,
on.
but
They
for
don't.
real. Like but they have no idea how you're doing it or what this art form like truly is and what a good song means and you know, should I like it just goes with taste as well for some people, but
Yeah, because it's definitely objective.
right. But to now the mass amount of people that are like that just listen to music as like a hobby or whatever, I guess that's a hobby. You know, that's kind of weird for me to think about someone's hobby just like, oh, I'm gonna like listen to some music right now. You know what I mean? That's like that's like me being like, oh, I'm gonna watch a baseball game or something, like, I guess. But,
Yeah.
because it's like all that I do. But yeah, like you have to assume that, but you also have to like kind of you don't want to write to that, but you sort of nowadays, like if you want to be really successful, that's why there's so much horrible pop music, is because it's just regurgitated and like no one knows the difference. They just don't know.
And there's literally psychological things they can do in music to make it more addictive, sort of.
Yeah, for sure.
Which is weird.
Addictive sounds, addictive melodies, stuff like that.
Yeah.
The whole science side of it.
It's kind of creepy, to be honest.
I mean, I like personally, I think that's like wrong. You know what I mean? Like, I think that keep art, please. Like, it's kind of the last thing that we that we really have that's still somewhat pure. There's still people that are doing it in a pure way, you know, and doing it out of expression and love and like, you know, true artists and true poets and that's something that's like, I think is really special, and like it's going away more and more because of the amount of bands and artists, the amount of music, the amount of money that a lot of people have now. I mean, you can buy your way to Billboard. I like to number one on the iTunes chart. I absolutely believe that.
For sure.
Like if I had a couple $1 million, you better believe like you can get anybody in the world to do your record for you.
Exactly.
And then sing on it, and then they auto-tune it, and you're good.
Yeah.
And you have a number one hit single, and you're making millions of dollars.
Yeah.
But
people like like you said, there's a lot of people that are kind of musically illiterate, and then there's also people that don't necessarily have an idea of what their musical taste is, so they just kind of listen to whatever's on the radio.
Yeah, that's
and so the
crazy.
radio defines their taste.
Yeah.
And since the radio is all bought and sold, it's literally like you're only listening to this because someone had money and was able to put it towards getting airtime or whatever it might be.
Right.
And nowadays it's not even
airtime is expensive too.
Yeah,
like
and not
very
only,
expensive.
And not only airtime now because everyone's streaming, but like, oh, hey Spotify, you're about to put out like this, I don't even know what it's called because I don't use Spotify, but there's like a discovery playlist and stuff like, oh, here's all the best songs of this week.
Yeah. Well, I get one every week. Yeah, it's called Discover Weekly.
Yeah.
And I find a bunch of really good artists. But that's because like I know my taste, so like it goes to things that I would actually like.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
And Spotify's great in that way.
Right.
I have it's weird. People are always like, you don't have Spotify? I'm like, no, I just use SoundCloud 100%. Like,
wow.
Which is weird to think about. I use SoundCloud 100% for everything. And people are always like, how do you find new stuff? And it's like on SoundCloud, when you, number one, my feed, like I follow all these people.
Right.
So like, it's kind of like on Twitter, you can retweet stuff, you can repost songs.
Yeah.
So I have like a curated feed where I'll find new music all the time from people reposting stuff.
Yeah.
But then also I love this one feature where you're playing a song and it'll play as the next song, just like a similar song, and you don't even know what it is, just kind of like related track, kind of like on YouTube, how you have like related videos. Yeah. And then you'll find like some new artist, this song has like 720 plays, it's like brand new, and you're like, what the heck, this is amazing. Yeah. And you like discover it. Yeah. And so I love it in that way. But so I feel like that's not being bought. Like there's,
right.
You know, I don't know of a way on SoundCloud that you can make yourself pop into other people's feeds besides like, I don't know. But anyways, the point that I was going back to was, so my friend Alex Guthrie, do you know who he is?
I don't think so.
He's on my podcast. Have you ever seen those State or American Family Insurance commercials where the guy's playing guitar and then Jennifer Hudson comes up and like sings
Yes,
with him?
I have.
Yeah, so that's my friend Alex. And
whoa,
yeah.
That's cool.
And he was on my podcast actually.
Dang,
and
that's cool.
During the podcast, we talked about how, you know, because I was telling, you know, he knows I'm like super into like EDM and stuff like that. And even in EDM, there's that divide too. You can easily buy your way to the top as a DJ, and there's other people that are really amazing producers that are making great music, but they're just never discovered or whatever, or have a super underground fan base or whatever it might be. But anyways, the way that he kind of equated it was there's two different ways you can look at music. One is kind of like the soundtrack to life, almost like background music.
Yeah.
And then there's other music that you're gonna really want to sit down and listen to and like take it in.
Turn your brain on for it.
Exactly. And so like if I'm cleaning the house or something like that, maybe I'm just wanting to listen to some background music,
for sure.
Some stuff that makes me feel good. Then sometimes like I'm driving or whatever, and I want to like listen to some stuff that I want to like actually appreciate as a piece of music or whatever.
Yeah.
And so, like you were saying, a lot of this, it's kind of dying as an art form, but I almost think it's more of an opportunity for true artists.
Yeah, I think
because
it is.
now it's kind of like rising to the top. Like, oh shit, this is kind of different. This guy's actually making me like think about his lyrics and stuff.
Right. But that's what I'm hoping is that people are gonna hopefully soon come back to that mentality again, because I think that mentality is just going. It just keeps going away more and more and more. And you know, I guess there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, you know, everybody thinks about different things in a different way, but for me, like, I think the whole point of music is to feel something. I think that music transcends words, you know what I mean? Like, it transcends, like, a lot of things on a lot of levels. Like, you know, it's something, again, that we kind of, since we're such a consumer kind of society and just in general, like, everything is with our eyes, you know what I mean? Like, we look at things and we appreciate things more when we see them and when we feel them. But you don't like feel, you do feel music, but you're just like, you're in charge of interpreting like the imagination in your head of what this looks like, what this sounds like, what this feels like. How is this making me feel right now? You know, why is this making me feel this way? Like, I really like this. This complements my mood right now. Like, for me, that's how I literally listen to music now. Is like, I know so much music that I literally, like, whatever mood I'm in or however I'm feeling, I can literally go to different people and different artists and stuff like that. And that's like, I love that. Like, I think that's kind of what the point of it all is just to, like, you know, make people feel something, you know?
Yeah. It's weird how big also music has been ingrained in our culture. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, back in the day, you had music and you had the radio and stuff, but there wasn't a radio machine in your pocket at all times. I mean, there was like a Walkman where you could listen to the radio, but like, it didn't have a speaker. You had to plug headphones in. Like, you could literally, with your phone, be listening to music 24/7.
Yeah.
And we do. Like,
yeah, that's me. Yeah, 24/7. Like, when I get in the car, listen to music. When I get out of the car, wherever I'm going, if I'm going into Kroger or whatever, better believe I still have my headphones in just because I love music. So I just
I'm not listening to some bullshit Kroger music.
Right? Yeah, like I'd rather just listen to mine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Also, don't you like work out with no headphones, or do you wear headphones?
I normally wear headphones.
Okay. Because I don't understand how someone can work out and not listen to music. Like, that to me doesn't make sense.
It is weird. I always have my Bluetooth headphones, typically.
Cool.
Unless I forget them, which sucks.
Yeah,
That's the
does
worst.
suck.
Like, sometimes it just makes you want to go home.
Yeah.
Like, it makes you not want to work out.
I would be like, no. This is over.
You're always going to have that backup pair of wired ones in your bag.
Yeah.
Yeah, but, yeah, sometimes the music helps to be a distraction from the suckiness of the workout, and sometimes it makes the workout more intense. Like, sometimes the music can really complement a workout. It depends. Like,
gotcha.
Sometimes the music helps you get more psyched. Sometimes it helps, like, you know, I don't know. And then sometimes I like to listen to podcasts while I work out.
Yeah, I listen to some, like, podcast or, like, to a book or something like that. And just
when I'm running, because I hate running.
Yeah, me too.
A podcast is really helpful, or even watching YouTube videos. That helps a lot.
I do that too, yeah, because for me, I usually will even be like, won't look at the, like on the treadmill, I won't look at like where I am. I'll just be like, once this YouTube video is over, then we will be done. You know what I mean? So or once this podcast is over, then we're done.
Yeah,
so just,
3 hours later.
Obviously depending on the podcast, but yeah.
Andrew Dice podcast, shit, I'm running forever.
Yeah.
No, that's funny.
Crazy.
But yeah, that's totally true. I do that a lot. And it's weird because I listen to the Joe Rogan podcast a ton. Yeah. Like, that's like my favorite podcast. Sure. And his are like super long. They're typically like 3 hours. So whenever I'm doing something long, or like I'm thinking about like a plane ride, I'm like, it's like a 3 podcast long plane ride. Like,
yeah, for sure.
Because I'm thinking about it. And it is crazy how much of Joe Rogan's voice or anybody's voice has ingrained into my brain just by listening to podcasts. And it's almost kind of creepy thing about my own podcast, because actually if you total up all the hours, even just in the few months that I've started it, it's like multiple days long of...
That's crazy.
Like, in the first 2 months, I think it was a total of like 48 hours of podcast.
Jeez.
Which is crazy to think about. That if someone has listened to all of them, which I don't know, if anyone's out there and you've listened to all of them, you're the real MVP.
Yeah.
Because like, even though I've been there for all of them, I haven't gone back and listened to 100% of every single one of them.
Right.
So, but anyways.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy to think about. That if someone had listened to every single one of them, they have spent 48 hours, like 2 full sun up, sun downs of listening to not only my voice, but my guests and stuff. But it is weird.
That's crazy.
Yeah. But anyways, to go back to the music stuff. So I wanted to talk for a second about like the Perimeter Band and everything, because obviously that's like a pretty big part of like music. It's weird how I feel like a lot of people that play real instruments and are into, I guess what you would say rock or whatever, a lot of them got their start playing in like worship bands and stuff. And a lot of bands in general. Yeah. I feel like that's just because every single Sunday there's a concert. Like there is an opportunity
to play every single Sunday. There's a rehearsal. You actually are given homework that has like almost pressure behind it, to where it's like you have to learn these songs because you're going to play them in front of people. So you better know them.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're just going to make everyone look awful.
Yeah.
And so you have
yourself
to,
is going to screw the whole band.
You have to learn them. You have to know them. You know what I mean? And that makes you just get better.
Totally.
And I think worship music and like playing in a church and stuff a lot. Like I think it's a great teacher. Like I think most of the time, at least when I was younger, like people that were coming around me and teaching me, they just like knew what they were talking about. And
totally. Especially at a church that has great worship. I mean, obviously there's some smaller churches where the worship leader might not know anything or whatever, but when you have like really rock star awesome guys, that are coming around and teaching everybody and kind of like the band coach almost, or even part of the band sometimes. Like that's like really encouraging.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah, it's definitely very encouraging.
And especially playing for stuff like Gold Rush or whatever. I mean, that's like a crazy...
Yeah.
So for people that don't know, there's like a yearly conference that would happen at our church like every summer that was a massive conference. And the worship was like a big part of it because it was such crazy production that wasn't typically happening on a Sunday. And then like at the beginning of each session, there'd be like a really cool song or whatever that wasn't necessarily a worship song. It'd be like some secular song. Yeah. So everyone would be super into it or whatever.
Throwing it back, man. Yeah. I did that for like 5 years. That's pretty crazy.
It is crazy how much of your life like that kind of takes up.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. But that was a big part though, for sure.
Yeah. So like, I've had Alex on and and he kind of does he has a band, but it's the Alex Guthrie band. Like he's the singer, he's the front man, all that kind of stuff. And then I've had my friend Cece on, and he's in a band too, and he's he does, his genres are widespread, but he it's a different type of band, I feel like. And I feel like as the drummer, sometimes you're in the back, not necessarily forgotten, because drums are typically like a big part. I feel like if anyone's gonna get forgotten, it's a lot of times the bassist. Yeah. Which kind of sucks.
Probably.
But like you're in the back and all this stuff, but you're a big part of the music. Like if you're listening to music with no drums and no beat, like it's hard to listen to it sometimes. So like, what is it like just being in a band and stuff for people that have never been in a band, or obviously people think about it a lot because they've watched live music before, but what's it like being in a band?
Being in a band is like, it's like being in a serious dating relationship is how I think about being in a band. In the best way. You hopefully are loving what you're doing. You love being around the people that you're around. You love getting to experience art and playing and being in different places with really cool people that you really like. But for me, I know that like when I've left bands or bands have broken up, it has been very much so like breaking up with a girlfriend. It's like it's because it's that messy. It definitely gets that messy because there's so much like you've put so much time, you've put so much emotion, you know what I mean? Like and so, but I think being in a band is just awesome. Like it really is unlike anything else, I think.
Because it is a relationship. You have to like the people that you're in the band with.
Well, yeah, because you're living in a tiny space for the most part. And that's, if you have a bus, then that's amazing. But for most bands that aren't doing super, super well at this moment, they're in like a, 16 passenger van or whatever and just roughing it and sleeping in it and showering at truck stops and, eating Subway every single day. And, yeah, it's definitely, and your sleep, you do not have a sleep schedule on tour either. So say it's my turn to drive, I'll drive for 12 hours and then get there, play the show, and then sleep the whole next day while everybody's doing whatever, because I just was up for 24 hours basically.
Yeah.
And then say the next day you don't have to do that, you'll hang out, you have a couple drinks or whatever, and then you'll stay up till 3, and then the next day your load-in's at 5. Someone else has to drive that shift down 12 hours that way, or however long the drive is, you know what I mean? And so, and one person has to be awake too. So the co-pilot, you always have a co-pilot when you're on tour, because if someone you don't want him to fall asleep on you or whatever. So,
yeah, that'd be the worst, man. If all your equipment and everything is in that van and like you have a crash or something, like everything is ruined.
Well, the worst is when they get stolen. I've known people that have had their whole trailers just lifted.
Whoa.
Yeah, and like like how much gear costs. Like,
yeah,
you're looking at like the multiple thousands of dollars. Like,
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Even just in stuff that you wouldn't think about, maybe not even the instrument themselves, but like if your whole pedal board or something gets stolen.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that was probably took years and years for you to collect all that stuff and like set it up and have it all the way you want.
Yeah, 100%.
And it gets lifted and you're...
Yeah. Especially like if you got lucky to get something like really rare, like say like a really old vintage snare drum or a vintage guitar that there's there's just not that many of them anymore. That gets lifted and you can't replace that. You know what I mean?
Totally.
Like, ever. So
yeah,
that's pretty crazy. But
that is weird. One thing that do you know Lauren Boyce? Do you know who she is?
I do. Yeah.
Yeah. I actually had her on the podcast recently. Cool. Her episode's not out yet, but one thing that she talked about, she lived in this cabin with like no electricity for the past year.
Wow.
One thing that they always talked about was hang on to things loosely. And I've been thinking about that a lot in the past couple of days, is like, what things am I holding on too tightly to? Because if they were taken away, I'd be distraught or whatever.
Right.
And, in today's day and age, we tend to think of our personal possessions as like part of our identity, kind of. Mm-hmm. And so if you're so wrapped up in this vintage guitar or whatever, and it breaks or someone steals it or whatever, and it just like crushes you, it's like you gotta hang on to things loosely, man, because you never know when disaster strikes or whatever.
Yeah,
you gotta have a backup plan or whatever,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Have you ever had anything stolen?
No, I've never had anything stolen.
That's good.
Thankfully. I know some people that have definitely gotten some stuff stolen though.
That sucks.
Yeah. Oh man, yeah. I would be very upset though if because it's like, I don't even know, like, it's so just so expensive that like it just to have it stolen just sucks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's like, like it's not even like I broke it or like I lost it.
Yeah, or like it caught on fire in my house or something.
Right. It's like someone just like took it and is now either enjoying this or making money off of it.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, it's just like it's such a bad
And you always
feeling.
have that thing in the back of your head where like, maybe I'll catch him, maybe I'll find it someday,
Right.
maybe I'll be able to get it back.
I know some
something.
people that have, which is crazy.
Like they found their old guitar like in a shop or something and bought it again or
like
something?
some people go straight to Guitar Center with it and try to trade it all in for cash.
Huh.
Or they'll go on Craigslist or eBay and just start listing them.
Does Guitar Center do any kind of like questioning when they take in guitars? Like, how'd you get this?
That's actually how I think it happened. Was they like, or at least I can't remember who this was, but it happened recently that someone's like guitar pedal, like pedal board and everything got stolen. This guy went to Guitar Center and they just like held him there basically and like had the police come.
Whoa.
Because they were like, there's no way this guy owns this. You know what I mean?
Because he just was like not knowledgeable at all.
Right. He and like, because this obviously was like very nice stuff too. You know what I mean? And they're just like, there's no way this guy knows what this is.
Huh.
You know what I mean? Like,
because he was probably like, how much is this worth? And like he had no idea.
They're like, how much you'll give me for it? And they'll like lowball and be like, oh, that's great. That's great. It's like, no, if you really knew what it was, you'd be like, no way. And first of all, you would never trade in a full pedal board like that.
You'd piece it out, probably.
You would absolutely, and you'd sell it to people that are actually going to pay good money for it. You know what I mean? Trading it in, that's like going to a pawn shop. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want to do that. So.
Yeah. Yeah, that is a weird thing. Like, that makes a lot of sense, though, that they would just kind of hold them there or whatever. I wonder how they would even figure out whose it was or whatever. I guess.
Yeah, I guess maybe, I don't know. He probably put the word out. That's usually what you do. You call every Guitar Center and you say, if you see this, let me know.
It's weird how Guitar Centers become like the place.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a monopoly.
I hate it so much, though. I hate Guitar Center. Ugh. But
the employees or like the store or what?
No, I just hate Guitar Center. The store mostly. It's just, if you're actually like need good quality music gear for like a professional, like there's no way that a professional could really get what he needed there. And it's way more expensive than like,
as far as what type of equipment?
Like cymbals. Their cymbal selection is trash. Their guitar selection is trash. Like, I mean, maybe not trash, but like not up to par with anybody that does this for a living. Would never want something that's first of all been played by like 90,000 kids. And
it's totally true.
And
I've gone and messed around a Guitar Center before.
Oh yeah, me too. Like, trust me, I've been to Guitar Center so many times.
Can I get down that like couple $1,000 Gretsch? I'm gonna play Smoke on the Water.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, or Stairway to Heaven. You know.
Yeah.
And then like their audio side's not bad though. Like their speakers and interfaces is not. It's not bad.
I was gonna say like I feel like as an audio engineer or something you could get what you needed there. Like microphones and stuff.
You definitely would have to order some stuff offline for sure, but you definitely could get what you needed. It's just like whenever I go in there, I'm literally just buying the necessities. I'm going there to buy sticks and drum heads, and usually I don't even have the drum heads that I like, so I'm just like, whatever. I'll just get this one and pay. They're still $50, so I'm still shelling out a lot of money. But yeah, for like nice gear that you'd see like a big band use on the stage, like that's all through either endorsements or they like this company, so they just went online and bought all of this basically, or know a really cool drum shop or a really cool guitar shop.
Yeah.
So
that makes sense. That's one thing that people don't think about a lot is how, you know, where you accumulate all of your music stuff too.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people probably would have just assumed that you just go to Guitar Center and pick it all up or whatever.
Probably, which is funny. But I'd say most people that I know that are playing like professional rigs right now, guitar, bass, vocal, drums, anything wise, they haven't gotten anything from Guitar Center. Like seriously, other than sticks, I don't think anything that I'm playing right now, nothing that I have at my house I've gotten from Guitar Center that I use right now.
Yeah, that's funny.
So
makes sense though.
Yeah,
but why is it that they have such a like monopoly or whatever? Not even monopoly, but
I have no idea. It's like, first of all, like no offense to any like Guitar Center employees or anything like that. I'm sure you guys are great. I've had some really great Guitar Center employees, but I've also had some like dudes that are obviously like in bands kind of, or were in bands that like just like are having a job to have a job because they kind of know about guitars or whatever, and they're just like total assholes. You know what I mean?
Very pretentious and
right, like, you know, like, oh well, you know, I'm better than working here, but I work here. You know what I mean? It's like, but you work here, so just like, you know what I mean? Just like chill, you know? Like, I'm not being pretentious. I just need to get something. You know what I mean? But I don't know. Like, it's just like the vibe is just so different now. It's just like, it's just a bunch of 14-year-old kids playing guitars on amps really, really loud, and some old guy playing drums super loud, like on the real drum set. You're not even the electric ones, just going crazy. And it's just like, this is just too sensory overload right here. You know what I mean? Like, so for me, whenever I go, I'm just like I don't know why it's gone downhill though. Like it used to be, I think it used to be a lot better. I honestly just don't know. I think it's because it's just probably just online stuff. I think nowadays you can just get all that stuff online, and you can get a nicer version of it too. So
yeah. The nice thing about going into a store is being able to try the stuff.
For sure.
But like if your friend already has that thing and you've been able to try it,
for
you know
example,
exactly
I mean,
what you need.
Yeah, but even for example, like if they had a cymbal there that I wanted, I would play it and then go buy it online.
Totally.
Because I know no one's played that cymbal that I just bought online. Because cymbals crack, you know what I mean? So like, say someone had just been like wailing on it and it's like almost through its life, I would have no idea about that. So I would like be like, oh, this is cool. I'm going to either order one or go online and try to get it for a cheaper price, but at least I can try it. So.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I feel the same way though, because I was considering getting this like smartwatch for a while, and I was like, I'm gonna go to Best Buy and like try it and wear it, but I'm not gonna buy it at Best Buy.
Yeah.
Like, why would I buy it at Best Buy?
Right, but like, why wouldn't you buy it at Best Buy? You know what I mean? Like, it's the same way
Well,
with
it's
Guitar
gonna be
Center.
more expensive or whatever.
Right.
Yeah. The weird thing about, because I used to have different feelings about buying stuff online. Because number one, it was like the instant gratification of going to a store and being able to use it that day is awesome.
Yeah, it always is.
But now that, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it still is.
But that was what was so cool about iPods, was they were the first devices that had a charge in them when you got them.
Oh, wow.
Remember, because when you got an iPod, you could turn it on immediately and start playing with it immediately.
That's cool.
They were the first company to start shipping with a charge in the battery.
That's so smart.
Like most of the time when you used to buy a smartphone, you'd have to you'd pull it out of the box and you're so excited to try it. Or not even a smartphone, a dumb phone.
Right.
And you'd like try to turn it on and it would like show the charge symbol. You had to plug it in. And then the first experience you have with it is with a cord stuck in it, which sucks. Because no one likes using a phone with a cord in it.
Right.
Especially the old phones, you had to stick it in the side sometimes or stick it in the top or something weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was strange how Apple had such a different approach to it. They're like, we want the first experience you have with our devices to be how you would actually use this thing rather than like the frustration of like trying to charge this thing and like set it up. Like when you start an iPod, like back in the day, you like turn it on and then immediately you didn't have to do any kind of real setup. It was like English. And then you're in the menus, like you're ready to go.
That's cool.
Yeah, because also there was the big frustration people had with the initial iPhones was the first thing you had to do was plug it into iTunes and connect it to your computer. You couldn't do anything.
Gosh.
And then with the iPhone 4, it was the first iOS that they announced. They're like, now you no longer have to ever connect it to iTunes. If you don't own a computer, you can have an iPhone. Which was kind of revolutionary because before you had to connect it to iTunes. That was the only way you could really load stuff onto it.
Which, by the way, is so frustrating. Like, that process.
iTunes is garbage.
It is so bad.
iTunes is a dumpster fire.
Oh, my gosh. And then, like, I would always have the problems. Back then, you would buy music and you would buy movies and stuff and not stream them. So, like, I remember how many times, like, whenever I get a new iPod or when I got my new phone or whatever, and you plug it in, you try to download all your stuff, you get maybe half of it on there, and the rest just, like, disappears. And I'm like, why is this not coming over?
It's supposed to sync. Yeah.
Right. That's so weird, man.
That was the thing, and sometimes it would get me so frustrated, too, was, like, you would have... Like with my iPod, I was using iTunes on a PC, so there was like certain things that were different, and I would like try to get help with it, and like it was different, so it didn't work.
Right, you have to call and like get walked through, and it's just like it's frustrating.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, and actually,
first world problems.
It's interesting we're talking about this too, because actually a couple days ago, or maybe it was last week, they announced that they're discontinuing the iPod Nano.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's like the end of an era. But like I didn't have I'm assuming you had an iPod, right?
I did.
What'd you have?
I had the silver iPod Mini.
Ooh,
the mini, and the iPod Video too. My sister had the video. Yeah,
I forgot that was a thing.
The black one, like the
U2
that
one?
had the screen. Yeah, the U2 one.
With the red click wheel.
No, she didn't have that one. I think she had a later version of it. My sister had that, and then when she got finished with that, she gave it to me or whatever. I always got the hand-me-downs of the technology, but so I had the iPod Mini, like the black and white one.
Nice.
And that was great, man. That thing was a tank.
Yeah, the iPod Mini was a classic for sure. Because the weird thing too is they only made one version of the Mini, and then they introduced the Nano. They killed the Mini almost like instantly.
Right.
Which is weird because the Mini was such a huge success, but I heard it was because like these Chinese companies had already figured out how they could copy the form factor and all that of the Mini so easily that they were like, we need to like revolutionize this again.
Interesting.
And they introduced the Nano. Anyways, I was just listening to a podcast about that a little bit. So
yeah.
Because I'm a nerd and that stuff interests me. But anyways, going back to the like buying stuff in a store versus buying stuff online.
Right.
Now I love purchasing stuff online because of the convenience factor. Because I don't have to go anywhere and deal with people. Like I already know the thing I want typically.
Yeah.
And I have Amazon Prime, so it's like I don't have to pay for the shipping.
Dude, Amazon Prime is amazing.
Yeah.
It is amazing.
It's crazy. Like a few years ago, I would have never assumed how much stuff I would buy on Amazon rather than trying to go to a store. Because also, you go to a Walmart or something, number one, you know they have it, but you don't know where in the store it is. Like if it's like an obscure thing, like is this in the electronics section or is this in like the outdoor section, like something weird that you're like not sure what section it's in, and then you have to walk through that giant ass store, find the thing. Oh, it's out of stock. Oh, it's at a different Walmart. Like just
we can order it online for you. That's the worst one.
And then it's like, well, I could have done that myself. I wanted to try it now. But anyways, there's definitely something to be said about being able to try out something. I think in the future there might even be stores simply for there
is one. It's called Bonobo.
My friend Cameron was on my podcast. She used to work there.
Oh, really?
She's a stylist, and she was talking about it. Like Bonobo is like, you go in, you try on it, you get,
and they order it,
and they order it for you, and then it's shipped to your house.
It's cool.
Which is basically what I do, and I think that's why a lot of stores even exist.
Right, and the cool thing is now is like you only have to go in there like 1 or 2 times and try on maybe like. Say you actually wanted to buy a pair of jeans and a pair of this, you just try them all on. Now you know your sizes forever. They're not going to change.
Exactly.
Hopefully.
I mean, there's some cheaper retailers that their sizes are inconsistent because the quality is bad. But
I'm saying, but this is the specific store.
Exactly. Like if you go into like a Forever 21 or something like that, you try on one pant, you try on like one pair of pants that's the one size. You try on the exact same pair of pants that's the same size, it might be different just because the quality is like inconsistent.
I didn't know that. That's crazy.
It's typically not going to be that bad, but like hypothetically it could be. Like,
interesting.
Because just the quality is not there.
Yeah. For me, I always try on like 2 different sizes of pants.
Me too. Yeah, because that's another weird thing that's what me and Cameron were talking about on the podcast. She's like styled a lot of celebrities and stuff. She's like but she loves like styling guys. And I was telling her like it's kind of a struggle as a guy sometimes for clothes because you've got like small, medium, large and all this stuff. But if you buy a large in one company, you might be a small in another company. Mainly because of like the length of a shirt or something weird.
Especially when you get over to shopping in like European companies. Then, because for me, like I buy like all the stuff that I like is all like European company stuff for the most part, but maybe not for the most part, but a lot of it. If
you're buying it online, you're buying from like something overseas
like
or
an
whatever.
ASOS or All Saints. I don't know if All Saints is it American or not. I think it may be American.
I think it might be European. I don't know.
It might be European, but
I don't know. I know ASOS isn't.
But I know that their sizes are weird. And like, you always like, you never know what you're going to get. And so, luckily for most of those places, they do offer free shipping. So that's nice. So, you get it and then you try it on, you're like, dang it, you have to send it back and then get another one or just get a refund. You're like, I'll just go find it somewhere. You know what I mean?
Like, did you ever shop on Jack Threads?
No, I never did Jack Threads. I
Did
thought it was an interesting concept.
Did you hear about their tryout program that they introduced that made them go under?
No.
So Jack Threads, like, they were just, they started off as like, they had some weird quirk about it. I don't remember exactly what it was.
It was like cheap watches and stuff like that.
Yeah, and they had like some name brand stuff. Like they carried brands, and then they also had like their own brand stuff. But anyways, like over the years, I never bought anything from them. But I had heard about them. I'd seen ads on Facebook, so I'd like checked them out before, and like somehow got subscribed to their newsletter annoyingly on my email. So I'd like see emails from them, stuff like that. But anyways, they had this amazing. I've talked about this on the podcast before, so if you're listening to this again, sorry. But they had this tryout program where basically you could purchase anything on their website. They'd ship it to you in a box that already had the pre-packaging to send it back, even included a piece of tape to reseal the box to send it back.
Yeah.
And you could order anything you wanted, and then 14 days later they would charge you for it, whatever you didn't send back. So it was literally like a tryout program. It was like being able to try it all on because they didn't have any retail stores. But the problem was they had a huge inventory problem because people would, instead of, ordering 2 pairs of jeans in a size, they legit did not know what their size was at all. So they'd order like 5 different sizes of one style of jeans, and then their inventory is just completely gone. And then it was like a 2-week turnaround before people could send the stuff that they weren't going to buy back. And then sometimes people would like, I'm assuming the people would just get a bunch of stuff just to see what they liked, and then they wouldn't buy anything. Like at the end of the whole process, they lost a whole bunch of inventory for 2 weeks, and then at the end of it, they didn't make any money.
Jeez.
So like, it was a really cool concept, but I wanted to go on and do the tryout stuff. But all the stuff that I wanted to try out was out of stock because all the inventory was out in the world being sent to other people.
Goodness.
So it was really weird.
Yeah, that sounds like a logistical nightmare.
It was a good idea in theory, but you'd have to be on the scale of like Amazon where you have so much inventory that it just wouldn't affect you as much.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was really insane, and they ended up shutting down. They ended up closing. It kind of and it was weird because like a lot of YouTube people were like sponsored by Jack Threads and stuff, like people that would style people on YouTube, and then like all of a sudden they had to like pull videos that had like Jack Threads ads in them because they didn't want to like continue to promote this brand that was like slowly going downhill.
Yeah, wow. That's funny.
But anyways, that is a weird story. But all that to say, I think in the future there's going to be like Amazon stores where you can like go in and try out stuff.
I'm sure.
And then it's typically the storefront will not be to actually purchase things there, like Bonobos. Like it would literally just be simply a tryout place.
That's crazy.
With like a cool environment that you're like excited to go into because it's cool. Yeah. 'Cause there's way too many stores that just have no idea how to like present it.
Oh, for sure.
Where you're not even excited to be in there. You're literally so disorganized and all that stuff.
Dude, I mean, I still get lost going into Walmart. I have no idea where I am.
Yeah.
I guess then again, I don't go there very often, but like when I do, I'm like, okay, so where am I again?
Yeah, exactly. Walmart sucks. The one place that I typically do like not hate is Target. Like Target's pretty good about like keeping things somewhat consistent in their stores. I don't go there that much, but
what was it? Oh, remember Circuit City? Did you remember Circuit City? You remember that? That place was dope.
Yeah, Circuit City was cool. I had a friend that actually was like a manager there, and like they all went under, and he like, lost his job and stuff.
Crazy.
Yeah, Circuit City was really cool. Radio Shack too is like kind of another place. Yeah, there's something to be said about being able to go into a place and try out a bunch of stuff, but it makes sense that those places would go under because how many times did you actually buy something at Circuit City?
Not a lot.
Yeah, like never.
Or like what was that other place? Like Sharper Image stores. Remember that? That was that. They always had everything like basically that you could sort of play with.
Yeah, or like Brookstone. They still have those in malls for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but they always had just like weird niche stuff. Like, I literally have this thing from Brookstone right here on my desk. It's that weird sand that like doesn't. It like doesn't.
Oh my god!
It's like sand that sticks together.
It's
really wild, and it doesn't stick to your hands.
Oh my gosh!
It's super weird. This is great radio. We're playing with sand.
It's like Play-Doh.
It's like Play-Doh and sand mixed together.
What the heck, dude? Like you get nothing on your fingers.
Normally when you play with sand, you have sand on your fingers.
So weird.
Yeah, I have this little like wooden thing. I always forget that it's on my desk though, because like I don't play with that much.
Oh my gosh!
This is an ASMR video. Now we're gonna play with sand.
Yeah.
But anyways, like it's weird stuff like that. that I don't even remember why I bought. I think it was like on sale at a Brookstone in Las Vegas or something weird. But anyways, store. We were talking about Guitar Center. That was what went all the way down that huge rabbit hole. But it's weird how everything's going online. I don't want to go into a store unless it's a cool store.
I feel that. At the same time, though, like I almost feel like I guess maybe more traditional in this way, but it's like I almost hate how, no one wants to be around anybody anymore. You know what I mean? Like, I get it because, like, I feel uncomfortable, but, like, everybody feels uncomfortable now. Like, everybody feels like you can't approach somebody or you can't talk to somebody in public, or, like, if they're on their phone, you, like, better not talk to them, otherwise you're, like, creepy or something. It's like, but then you, like, look at, like, the older generation, like, if you see if you just are standing next to somebody and they're, like, 40 or older 40s or whatever, they'll, like, be like, hey, what's up? Like, how's it going? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that, like, doesn't happen really much anymore, you know what I mean?
It's weird because, okay, so I encountered this when I was in Amsterdam. Like, we were in this really cool park, and there were these two girls that were, like, sitting off to the side. Like, the whole time I was like, should I go over and, like, talk to them? Oh, they're, like, doing their own thing. Like, oh, like...
Right.
But, like, I guarantee you that they were, like, looking over, like, I wonder if that guy's going to come over and talk to us. Like, that whole thing. Because I think a lot of times when you're around in the world, you're just, like, kind of hoping someone will talk to you, but you're not going to be the one to initiate it.
Right.
And that just gives so much opportunity to people that are, like, opportunists that will just kind of go up and say what's up. Like, I try to make it a point to, like, talk to people, even though sometimes it is uncomfortable and weird.
Right. But sometimes you get some really cool experiences out of it, you know what I mean? Like, especially if you're, like, in a different part of the world, like, I make it almost a point to, like, try to experience just someone whose life has been, like, just so different than mine.
Totally.
You know what I mean? Just from a different point of view completely, or perspective, so.
Yeah. No, let's talk about that for a minute, because that's, like, a big thing. You were saying you wanted to move to London and everything.
Yeah.
When was the first time you, like, traveled overseas?
So to Europe, the first time I ever went was I was 15. So, and I went with all the perimeter people, actually.
I remember that. Yeah. Didn't Elizabeth Ward go on that trip?
She did, yeah.
I had her on the podcast.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. She was on the first episodes, but we talked about that a little bit. But you guys went to London, right?
Mm-hmm.
And played music and stuff?
Yeah, and it was so cool, man. Like, I got obsessed with it after that trip. Like, I wanted to go back so bad, and finally did this past March.
Nice.
Me and my friend, I just said, like, dude, we just have to go, and we did, and we just went for a week. And
where'd you guys stay? Like,
we stayed in an Airbnb, yeah.
Nice. That's the way to go.
Yeah, it definitely was. It was cool. She actually had, like, food in there for us too, which was...
I love that.
You know what I mean? Like...
Bless you, Airbnb people
and,
that
like,
are awesome like that.
Yeah, and so, like, you come back, like, late night after, like, you just been out all night. You come back and you're like, hey, we can go make some food. But the cool thing is there's a lot of 24-hour corner stores in London. You know what I mean? And a lot of them have, like, real food.
Totally.
You know what I mean? Like, here that's, like, kind of not usual. You have QT and, like, I guess racetrack and all that stuff, but, like, this is just literally like a store that's, like, beer, cigarettes, there's liquor there, which is crazy. You know what I mean?
It's weird.
And then, like, food, like hot dogs, pizzas, like sandwiches, like, and it's in this tiny little place, and you're just like, this is awesome. You know what I mean? It's always open, and, like, it's usually right next to a tube stop, so, like, you get off your tube and you go straight into the corner store and you, like, get whatever you need. You know what I mean? So that was awesome. We loved that. So
that's always so great when you're in, like, a cool city like that and you just can get what you need and stuff late at night.
Yes.
Because it's always such a pain in the butt, like, trying to find something super late or whatever.
Also, what's really weird about, like, that I've noticed in London is it is so hard to find a public bathroom in London. Have you noticed that?
In Europe in general.
Yeah, in Europe, like, you literally, like, I just have to, like, go into a store and, like, buy something to be like, okay, thank you, I'm going to go use your bathroom.
You know what
I mean?
has been really awesome?
Because they usually lock them, too. You know what I mean? Like,
well, I feel like that's the case in big cities as well. Like, if you're in any big city, it's going to be a little bit harder to find.
Right.
And also when you're in a different culture, like, sometimes it's a little weird. Have you ever, like, paid for a bathroom over there?
No, I actually have been in line to pay for one, and then I was like...
And then you're like, nah.
No, I'm not paying for a bathroom.
Well, there was this weird thing that I encountered in I think we were in Belgium. Yeah, so my friend David, we drove in his car from... He lives in the Netherlands. We drove from his town down to Tomorrowland. And one weird thing, when we stopped at one of the gas stations on the side of highway was the bathroom cost 50 cents. But when you paid for it, you got a little ticket. And you could redeem that ticket as a coupon, a 50-cent coupon credit for anything in the store.
Interesting.
So,
That's interesting.
So me and my friend both went. So we had €1 basically. Like we each paid 50 cents.
Right.
So he combined two of them and got some M&Ms because he used those two coupons to get some free M&Ms.
Wow.
So it was kind of genius because you pay for the bathroom, but then you can. So it's like
it's giving you incentive to buy something at the store.
It's forcing you to buy something in the store too, because typically it's only 50 cents, and there's not much in a store that's 50 cents.
Right.
Luckily, he was able to buy some M&Ms for he combined the two.
Right.
But it's kind of genius.
That's true. Yeah, because no one's gonna waste that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're like, oh, well, I might as well get a drink, get 50 cents off or whatever.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It was genius.
I like that.
I had never encountered that, and I thought it was really smart.
Yeah.
That is
really
also
smart.
cool because but kids could go to the bathroom for free. I thought that was kind of nice because that'd be annoying if you were like on the road and you had to pay and your kid had to pay.
Yeah.
And like it was really just your kid that needed to pee or something.
Right. Yeah.
But I thought that was a genius concept. But I think in America we're like so entitled to convenience that like we're just so used to being able to go in anywhere and not purchase anything and use their bathroom.
Right. I like still feel weird about it. Like I feel like I'm like I don't know. I've had some like weird people be confrontational about it and be like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm just going to the bathroom." And they're like, "Oh, well, are you
utilizing our facility?"
And I'm like,
maybe you should have thought about that.
Yeah, I'm like, "Oh, okay."
It is so weird how taboo like going to the bathroom is in America. Like if you're peeing and pooping are like an essential thing that you have to do.
Yeah.
But you can get arrested for doing it if you're not doing it in a specified place.
It's so stupid. Like
it's so weird.
The only time I've ever been close to being arrested was when I was peeing in public one time. And that was because I was actually at a show and we were walking back to our car and I literally like there was this big like like a freight truck, like like a big freight thing. There was just one sitting there, so I just went behind it, and I was like, I'm just gonna pee really quick before we get in the car. It's like an hour drive home. You know what I mean? Like I might as well. And like a cop like pulls by and he's like, "Hey, what are you doing?" And I'm like, "Nothing." And he's like, "Are you peeing back there?" And I was like, "No." And I was like, "Dude, why? That's just so stupid." Like, I mean,
I'm doing meth.
Especially because it's like 2 a.m. Like, where are you supposed to go? You just gotta.
When you gotta go, you gotta go.
Exactly. So I don't know. I think it's funny.
It is weird. Reason why I love Amsterdam, is they have public urinals like everywhere.
Do they really?
Yeah. Okay. So like on the canals, like on the street, there's this like little circular thing, and at first I didn't realize what it was. And what it is it's almost like a little spiral. And you walk into it, and there's a little thing to pee in.
Okay, I've seen those.
And it doesn't flush or anything. It's kind of gross, but like it's just a place to pee.
Yeah.
And like unfortunately for girls, there's not really a similar thing.
Yeah.
But I have seen where there's like little portable, like in the park. It's cool because they have like urinals where it's like an X, and you just go up to it, and like in each little corner of the X, there's a little hole to pee in. And like people are watching you and stuff, but they can't see anything because you're like
that's so
facing
random.
The,
That's
like,
so
middle
random.
of the X.
That's cool.
But that's what I love about like the Netherlands and a lot about Europe is they're so progressive in the sense that like who cares? You're peeing. Right. Yes, I can watch you, but I'm not seeing anything that I don't need to see.
Right.
And like and also right next to those urinals they have a porta potty, like a traditional one for girls to use, or if you have to do whatever else.
For sure.
But or if you want to be in private, you can. Mm-hmm. But for most guys, they don't care.
Yeah.
Like, we're just literally trying to drain the, like,
seriously.
just trying to pee.
Yeah.
And another weird thing about music festivals in general is typically like the porta potty situation is awful.
Yeah.
One thing I adore about Tomorrowland and Tomorrow World, when they had it in America, is they have flushable toilets.
Wow.
There's no porta potties that I ever had to go in, and so like let's say you're at the main stage.
Yeah.
It's this giant natural amphitheater almost where it's like a giant rounded hill.
Gotcha.
And the stage is down the hill.
Okay.
So if you're in the middle of that crowd and you have to pee, like you're gonna have to wade through a sea of people.
For sure.
Like literally tens of thousands of people.
Uh-huh.
So what people were doing was there's actually these elevated viewing platforms in the middle of the place, and so people would just go up to the side of them and pee on the wall. Because it's like so crowded and like, you know, and it was gross and disgusting because there'd just be pee everywhere. And in America, like typically you'd probably just, the next year they'd probably just put up signs everywhere that said, don't pee on the wall or something, or like, do not pee here, you could be arrested or whatever.
For sure.
What Tomorrowland did is instead, they installed a urinal trough along the side of the wall because they're like, people are going to pee here regardless of what we say, so we might as well make it sanitary and put a urinal here.
For sure.
And it was like so exposed. Like, if you wanted to look like you totally could, but most people were drinking. You just
have to, yeah.
They did not care. They were going to go regardless. So that's like one thing that I just kind of love about that.
Everyone's focused on what's going on up there. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, no one's being like, oh, who's that guy peeing over there?
And like, I hate to generalize stuff, but also typically, it's going to be guys creeping on girls rather than girls creeping on guys.
For sure.
Like, girls are not really trying to see that most of the time. Some of the time, you might run into a few creepers, but like, generally you can kind of keep it together and no one's gonna care or see or whatever. But this podcast ended up going in a weird direction. But I just thought that was super awesome because it's like, this is great. I wish that they had a solution for girls that was right there too, because I mean it's a little bit not messed up, but a little more inconvenient for girls. But it's just one of the things.
I agree. Yeah, definitely. That does suck.
But yeah, that was one thing that I loved about Amsterdam, because like you said, it's hard to find a public bathroom. Yeah. And most of the time you don't have to like do a whole bunch of stuff. You just gotta pee.
Right. Yeah. But yeah.
The struggles of being a human.
The struggles.
But yeah, man. So you went to London and you went back there again. Have you done any other like traveling, or pretty much just like London?
That's basically been it. I went to Alaska recently and,
That's cool.
and did that in Canada and did a little British Columbia stuff up there.
That's cool. I went to Canada like once when I was really young, but I don't remember anything.
Dude, I really liked it a lot. We went to Victoria, Victoria, in British Columbia. It's beautiful. It reminded me a lot of like, weirdly, like almost like San Francisco kind of. It's like a beach town in a way. It's like a harbor town.
But I feel like it'd be so cool because it wouldn't be overcrowded as much.
It's not like it, but it also looks like a European city in a way. Like like all the signs and stuff, and like it's all Europe, like because it's a British colony. But it was.
Did you drive on the left there?
I don't know. I walked everywhere. I'm pretty sure it was normal, but
okay, yeah. I feel like you'd recognize it if you because it's weird.
Right.
There was a
I know. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It was a weird thing when I went to Italy for the first time. I, for whatever reason in my brain, thought that everyone in Europe drove on the left.
Right.
And they totally don't.
Yeah.
Like England is the only place.
Yeah.
England and also parts of
Australia, right? Don't they do that?
I think in Australia, yeah, and then also in some parts of Asia.
Oh, okay.
It's right.
That'd be confusing. Can you imagine just like one part you're like driving through somewhere and you just come up to the next city? It's like, oh, switched.
Yeah, well, it was weird when I was at Tomorrowland. I saw some people there that had driven from England or whatever, and had right-hand drive cars, and it just trips me out every time I see it.
Yeah, right-hand drives. Yeah, that's always crazy. You know what's trippier is when I see one here. I've seen a few people, and I'm like, why? Like, why did you do that?
Well, some people are just purists, and like, for example,
yeah, I know this. I think this was like a Volvo though. Like this, it was weird. Like this lady, and I was like, you must actually be like British, and you just aren't used to driving on the other side.
Yeah,
I guess,
that's weird. Yeah,
it was weird.
Well, another strange thing is the import laws are different. So, like, in order to import a car that's right-hand drive, typically you have to do a lot of stuff to your car, like, because the American laws are stricter. I go to a lot of car shows and stuff, and it's always like a super gem when you see right-hand drive Nissan GTRs, because those are like the bow down worship cars of like tuners and stuff. Yeah. So, but it's crazy because you'll see there'll be some right-hand drive GTRs, and it's funny because
that's crazy.
Only like people that really appreciate that stuff freak out. Everyone else is freaking out about the Lambos and everything else, like all the new stuff. But it'll be funny because there'll be like a somewhat decent, cool car that's like newer, and everyone's looking at that. Meanwhile, like a few cars down, there's like a right-hand drive GTR that's like so rare and such a gem, but no one's even paying attention.
Dude, I love GTRs, man. They're always. Whenever I see them, I'm like, that's so sick. Those things are crazy fast. You know what I mean? Like. Yeah.
I have a weird thought about GTRs because on one hand, basically dollar for dollar, bang for your buck, they're the best car you could get because. For $100,000, you can get something that can compete on a level with like a Bugatti Veyron, which is insane.
Yeah, it's insane.
It's a fraction of the price. Like Bugattis are like literally a couple million. Yeah, you're paying $100,000. It's insane.
Yeah,
but there's a lot of like weirdness with GTRs. Like the interior is like kind of ugly.
Yeah.
Like if you're going for like a luxury standpoint, like the GTR is not for you. But if you're going like, I just want to get straight up horsepower
I feel
for
like
my dollar, GTR.
Yeah, I feel like if you're gonna be buying a luxury car at that level anyway, you're gonna have the money to spend it on, something like a Bentley or something like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, like,
yeah.
I feel like most people aren't thinking, oh, luxury fast car.
Yeah.
GTR. You know what I mean? They're thinking fast car.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
So.
Yeah, and that's another thing too is like everyone just kind of calls it like the ugly stepchild because it's not the prettiest car. They're cool looking. Like I like them.
I think they're cool.
I like the back of them more than anything.
Yeah.
The front is it could use some work, but like when you look at like a McLaren or something, like it's just like beautiful. Mm-hmm. But bang for your buck, definitely GTR is the way to go. I was gonna make a point about cars, but I don't remember. I can talk for hours. Oh yeah, I was gonna say that's why I think the more older I've gotten, the more I start to appreciate Porsches.
Yeah, I love Porsches.
Because when I was younger, I was really into all the like crazy, flashy Lamborghini, blah blah blah, Rolls Royce, And I really love Porsches and have started to really appreciate them more. And I realize why people are such huge fans of them is because you're getting the luxury.
Right.
A little bit nowadays. The older Porsches, no, they're totally stripped down. You get a little bit of luxury, but you're getting like the best driving experience, and the exterior is just like timeless and understated.
Yeah.
Like you're not really turning a whole bunch of heads, but you could be driving a $500,000 Porsche and like no one really knows.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of cool.
My favorite, I just love Astons, bro. Like I just think those are the most beautiful cars.
They're clean,
like,
for sure.
Gosh, like I saw this murdered out Aston, like DB9 or whatever, and I was just like, that is the like sexiest car that I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I think also I saw this Shelby Cobra one time that I was just like, that is so sick. Like I would love
just timeless.
Yeah, it's just
There's some cars that just don't ever.
Right.
You could, besides normally the lights are what gives it away because you have those old style headlights that kind of, you can tell it's an older car.
Right.
But like there's some cars, man, like the old DB9s are like, they can hold up with today's design.
Oh, for sure.
They're just timeless for sure. There's a weird thing that I heard about. I was watching this video of this guy who had an Aston Martin. Can't remember what year it was. I'm pretty sure it was Aston Martin. But anyways, Aston Martin at one point was owned by Ford, and then at one point it was owned by like Range Rover and Jaguar.
Okay.
And then at one point it was also owned by Volvo. Like it was like it went through like a bunch of ownerships in like a bunch of years. So there was this one specific set of years of the, can't remember, it might be in the Vantage or something like that, where basically over the years that they were developing it, it was under different ownerships. They were actually using different parts from other, like borrowed parts from like Fords.
Oh,
and then when it was under Volvo, there was borrowed parts from the Volvo parts bin and all this weird stuff. And this guy in the video, he had his Aston Martin key that was covered in leather. And one of his keys that he used on the daily, the leather started to peel off. You peel off the leather, it literally was a Volvo key fob and said Volvo, just like it would on a Volvo key fob.
Oh my gosh.
Like his clicker. And you peeled it off, and there was actually extra glue that they had put over the Volvo letters, just so even if the letters started to come off, hopefully the Volvo part wouldn't get exposed.
Oh my gosh.
Because they did not want you to know that in your $150,000 Aston Martin, you were using the parts from like a S60 or whatever the Volvo is.
Oh man, dude.
It's so funny.
Yeah, it's so funny. Imagine how mad you would be though. I would be so
I would be
mad.
livid. Yeah, and the funny thing is you could tell they put extra glue over the Volvo letters. But you peel the leather off of that key fob and it's a Volvo key.
Oh my gosh, that's incredible.
I thought that was hysterical.
Have you seen the dudes that like the videos of those guys like outrunning the police in their what was the car they did it in?
I've seen motorcycle videos a lot of that.
There was this guy who did it in a car. It was a what was the name of it?
Was it like a super expensive one?
It was a Viper. It was a Viper.
Oh, nice.
And it was like a souped up Viper, and he had one of those like radar detectors or whatever, and so it, like you hear it go like beep 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 or whatever, and like you see the cop pull out, and he just like guns it. and just like swerving. It's like really entertaining to watch because you're just like, oh my gosh.
Is it the one where he has the co-pilot and he like hides behind that tractor trailer at one point?
Maybe.
I've seen a similar video where at one point they knew there was a cop coming up on the right or whatever, and so what he did was he kind of like slowed down his pace so that when he saw where the cop was gonna be or whatever, so the tractor trailer kind of blocked him as he passed the cop.
Interesting.
It was weird because there was someone chasing him from behind.
Right, but he didn't want another one.
He didn't want another one on the tail or whatever.
Dang.
It's really crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, those videos are insane.
Yeah.
But yeah, I could go down rabbit holes about cars for days. Like,
for sure.
I'm like obsessed with cars, but surprisingly, I don't really know that much about like fixing them or anything.
Yeah, I don't either.
That was what I did a podcast with this guy Eric Jarvie, and he like was kind of the opposite. We actually recorded it in this little like co-working garage that he basically rents a space in that he can use all their tools and like work on cars there.
That's like Brother Moto, if you know what that is.
What is that?
It's like the motorcycle version of that. It's like a club, but you can bring in your bike whenever you want and use all of their stuff to fix your bike or soup it up
really
or whatever
cool.
you want to do.
Yeah, because there's no sense in everyone having their own set of all these specialized tools. Like we could just all share them and pay a fee or whatever.
For sure.
Yeah, but what were we talking about? London and all that stuff. Yeah. So why is London like your favorite city?
Man, first of all,
I've actually never been to London. I've been to England, but I've never been to London. I've been to Manchester and Liverpool.
Cool.
But I've never been to London, surprisingly.
Yeah, well, for me, it's just like, it's just so pretty. Like, it is so old, but in such a beautiful way. Like, it's pretty clean. Like, honestly, like, it's a pretty clean city, like, I will say. For at least in my experience, like, it never felt dirty. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like New York or anything like that.
I was about to say,
did not feel like that at all. But it just has I like the weather there. I like it a little colder. I like it rainy. You know what I mean? I just like that vibe. I don't know. It's just like being there just feels so, I guess maybe just so different than what I'm used to, but in such like a familiar way. It doesn't really make sense, but I just love just being there and walking around. Just like the feeling of it feels home-like to me. Yeah, you know what I mean?
That's how I feel in Amsterdam, dude.
Right, you know what I mean? Like you walk around, you're just like, I just feel at home. You know what I mean? Yeah.
And you're like, why do I not live here?
Right.
This is the dopest place
I know.
Ever.
It's so cool. Yeah. And there's so much to do in London. There's so much stuff. It's massive. Like, you can, go to Ireland. You can get a cheap plane ticket out. Like, traveling when you get inside Europe is not that hard. So, like...
Yeah. And, like, England is pretty small.
Right.
And it's pretty densely populated.
Right.
Like, there's, for example, stand-up comedians that, like, can do their entire career in the UK, and they barely have to travel far at all.
Yeah, there's bands that basically do their whole career in the UK and a little other parts of Europe, and that's it.
Because totally, like, if you lived in, like, Spain or something, you've got, like, Madrid, Barcelona, a few other, like, major cities, but, like, if you're going to be a successful touring person, you're going to have to kind of, like, branch out and go other places. But, like, in the UK, you've got so many big cities and stuff, and so many venues.
And that's the thing about London as well is...
Did you go to any shows over there?
I wish. There wasn't really any to go to, honestly, when we were there, believe it or not. But everyone cares about music over there. Like, they really care about it. At least from what I've noticed, like, the shows there, like, you ask any band, when they go over to England, their shows are going to be so much bigger than over here. They always will be. I don't know why that is. But it's like always the case, usually. A lot of bands get their start there too. So, like, if you have a record that's not doing that well over here, it'll go over there and do super, super well. And then you'll just go there and be massive and then come over here and no one knows about you. It's crazy.
Yeah. I feel like that level of fame would be kind of fun.
I would be so fine with that. Like, if being big in Europe and then, like, here nobody really caring about me, like, I would be totally okay with that.
Do you know Brian Regan, the stand-up comic?
Yeah.
He has, like, he's talked about this a lot where he'll he's amazing in the sense that he's garnered a very loyal fan base that basically anytime he comes out to a city, he can sell out a show.
Yeah.
And he does little promotion, you know. He has a few stand-up comedy specials that are on, you know, the internet and stuff. But, like, he's been able to really garner, like, an amazing audience. And one cool thing that he talks about is, like, he'll go to a city, sell out a massive venue, thousands of people, go down the street to Burger King, and no one knows who he is.
Yeah. No one knows.
Yeah, he's like he's like, I have to laugh because it's just so funny because these people there, they are freaking out that I'm there and they want to see me and meet me and all this stuff. And then I go 2 minutes down the road and these people have absolutely no idea who I am. And they're straight up rude to me, you know, like at the store, at the Burger King or whatever it is. It's just so funny. And I think the internet especially has been able to give these niche celebrities a huge platform. Like YouTube stars, for example.
Yeah, PewDiePie, man.
Yeah. Like, oh my gosh, I was actually watching PewDiePie this morning. I'm not even like, I don't even watch him that much, but like, he's so funny, man. And
he's smart too.
He's smart, articulate, and like, he'll swear and stuff like that, but like, and you could be like, well, I don't want my kid watching PewDiePie. I'd rather have my kid watching PewDiePie than some of these other trash vloggers and stuff that are just like, you know, that are just ridiculous.
Jake Paul.
I wasn't even about to say it.
Yeah,
but yes.
don't even say his name again. Yeah, dude.
I used
it's so cringy. It is so cringy that I like. It makes me like physically angry when I watch like that music video that they put out or whatever. Like it makes me like physically ashamed to be like a musician, like in having to sit there and just be like, you just, the ignorance, man. It's just so unbelievable. I just don't get
England
it. Like
is my city.
Let's have these two dudes that speak Spanish speaking Spanish for this next part of the rap because like that's a cool thing to do right now or something like that. Like whatever.
The whole thing with Team 10 too is just like so ridiculous. You know that Jake Paul takes 10% of everyone that's in Team 10's money, like cash flow? So they call it Team 10.
Of course 10%. He does. Yeah. Dude, I love how in the song the guy literally says like, Jake took me from the bottom and now we're like rolling or whatever. It's like, so you're basically just telling the world that you're a yes man is what you're saying. Is that you're like, you don't do anything. But this random guy who is on Disney Channel is just living the life. Like,
well, here's the other thing.
It doesn't even make sense, man.
With all those digi stars, whatever you want to call them, like all this, it's all short-lived.
Right.
You've got to play the marathon game.
Right.
Bro, Jake Paul.
Yeah.
What are you going to be doing in 10 years?
Nope.
Because you're not going to have 12-year-old girls flocking to you anymore.
No.
That's the thing. It's like you've got to have a, like, I understand it and I get why you can get sucked into all that and I get being a douche because there's always a little bit of douchiness in everybody.
Of course.
But he's a total douche. The thing that I respect about his brother Logan a little bit more is like, I used to watch their Vines. Like Vine was like a thing, you know. Logan on Vine was like cool because he would actually come up with like somewhat funny stuff. Yeah. Now his content has gone kind of downhill.
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
But I respected the fact that, like, Logan was one of the first people to, like, approach, not first people, but he was getting brands to, like, utilize his, I guess, skill set in a way. It sounds weird to say, but, like, he was really good at making short, funny videos that were somewhat clever. And yeah, there were some douchey ones where he had his shirt off and stuff like that. Or yeah, there's some, but then you got Jake, his brother, who he, you know, just brought into all this, and just tried to become like an Instagram model.
Yeah, it's just
simply by like always taking shirtless pictures and like.
Well, it's a weird phenomenon that like in the time that we're living in right now, where people truly are like. There's so many people that are famous now for doing nothing, you know?
They're famous because they're famous.
Right, and that is just such a strange thing, you know? Like, it honestly, I think it's not the best thing at all. It's just a weird thing to me. Like, it's just strange.
Yeah.
Like, I get it. Like, yeah, you're genetically perfect. We understand. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
You know, like, I get it. I'm sorry that I'm not that way, but like, you know, I also want to like do something with my life and not just like have people tell me that I'm beautiful all the time.
But like the weird thing for me is like, for example, if there's like a small part of me that's not necessarily jealous, but like in a way it's like,
Yeah.
I could do that too if I wanted to, but I'm not going to stoop to that level of douchiness.
It's so douchey.
And cringiness. Because anybody who's like his actual fans are like really young, impressionable girls and maybe even boys, whatever.
Yeah.
It's like anyone who actually is worth your respect is not respecting you.
Oh, yeah. No way. Like,
and it's like, you're getting money, yeah, sure, but at what cost? Like,
so did you see that, you know Post Malone, right?
Yeah.
I love Post Malone.
He's funny. He's a funny dude.
So apparently Post Malone said that, like, Jake Paul was like garbage, obviously, because he is, and Post Malone just being real about it. And so Jake Paul like goes to Post Malone's house, vlogging where he lives. So he shows like his address and stuff, and like goes to his house and is like, "What's up, man? Like, what are you saying about me or whatever?" And Post is like, "I don't know, man. Like, I was just,
why are you here?
Yeah, like, this is my house, dude. Like, what do you want?" He's like, "Oh, I just want to talk about, like, why are you talking shit about me or whatever." And he's like, "Dude, I don't care. Like, I don't know who you are, dude. Let's just get out of here."
Well, because here's the thing is he knows that YouTube drama will drive views. That's what his whole channel's about.
Of course, right.
And so, and I mean, sadly, like, I know about it, unfortunately. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it sucks that I even know about this.
Yeah, I know.
Because he's like, oh, I'm so freaking savage, bro.
Yeah.
You're such a savage. And it's like, no, you're not a savage. You're just a douche. And you know that causing confrontation, yeah, you're a savage in the way that you're not afraid to do things.
You're a savage, man. Like,
you're such a
why don't you just like stop talking like that though? Like, it's so immature just to be like, "Oh yeah, bro. Like, that's so sick, bro. You're so savage, man. Like, totally flexing on her." Like,
dude, that's so lit, fam. Like, savage as fuck, bro.
God, like,
I'm shook about how savage you are, bro.
Yeah, it's just so bad, man. Like, I just personally just like, I guess, you know, if that's you live in that culture, good for you, more power to you. But for me, man, I despise that stuff. Like, it's just.
Yeah, it sucks because
they're literally, do they think ever? I don't think so. Like, just the IQs, man. I would love to know. You know? I would love to know those IQs.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah.
Like, how do you that's how you speak to people. Like,
did you see how when he was like on the news and his neighbors were like, you know?
No.
And the worst thing is he lies about all these stories. He like lied about how his neighbors took the lug nuts off of his car.
Oh, yeah.
And they like drove down the highway. But then there's videos of it and he's like, yeah, and their wheel fell off. And then they were just trying to drive slow, blah, 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 blah. And their wheel fell off and all this stuff. And it's like, okay, in the video of like them stopped on the side of the road, number one, the wheel is on the car and the axle is broken.
Okay.
So they didn't take the lug nuts off because the wheel is on it and the axle is broken, meaning something else happened. Like, why are you lying about that stuff?
Gosh, it's that
so
that kind
bad.
of stuff is just so, like,
because he thinks his entire life is like a reality show, and
Yeah.
and Post Malone's like, yo, bro, this is like where I actually live. Like, there's a separation, a line between like my personal life and what I do in the public.
Right.
You have to respect that.
Yes,
He doesn't.
like,
there is no line for him. Like,
I know.
his life is a reality show.
I know, and
so he's gonna lie
he's
and cheat
also,
and steal his way to the top.
Exactly, because he doesn't care about anybody. You know what I mean? And that's the way with a lot of these people is they think they're so cool because all these stupid people are telling them that they're so cool. These people that are just consuming. That's all they do is just consume, like, media and culture.
And I guarantee that if the money stopped, all those Team 10 faggots would be, excuse my words, everyone, if you're triggered by that, but I'm going to say it. All of them, like, if the money stopped, they would be out in a second. Like, none of them are true friends.
No,
like,
of course. They're yes men. Like, that's the way that it is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Guaranteed that all of them would be gone in a heartbeat if their money stopped. None of them are like
They'd move back to their parents' house. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
That's where they all came from. I'm sure. You know?
And when you go to when you sell your soul like that for the fame and you have no real friends, you become a member of the NFL, the no friends left.
Yeah.
Like when you're like that, like I don't know, man. I feel bad for him in some ways.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely do.
Because it's so cringy.
It is, but it's like.
He lives in his own world.
Right. They all live in their own world. And the thing that's funny is like it's like if I were to run into one of them, they would literally be like treating me like I'm a piece of garbage because they're like, you're not at my level. Because they think
you don't even have 1,000 Instagram followers, bro.
Right, because they literally think of themselves that highly. You know what I mean? And that makes dude, I mean, people that are actually really making a difference in people's lives and really doing cool stuff, like being really popular or being, in that way, I guess, they don't even think of themselves that way. Like, they would never, I know tons of people that aren't, assholes all the time, you know what I mean? Because, it just happens to them. They're not, searching for meaning in being popular, you know what I mean? And and just getting and trying to live fast, you know what I mean? I don't know. And I think living fast has changed a lot too. You look at these kids, they're like, oh yeah, we live so fast, bro. We live so hard, it's do you though? It's you're not going anywhere. They don't even travel. They just party at their house and then
light stuff on fire.
Right.
And rent Lambos for the day or
exactly.
something.
That's not, no, man. You're not really.
Well, there's weird guidelines. People that have left Team 10 have released what Jake makes you do when you live. So if you are a member of Team 10, his whatever thing.
It's like a cult.
It is. You have to if you're not up by a certain time, making content, you're punished. You have to at least post a certain amount of things per day. You have to be creating content a certain amount. You have to be at the house certain hours of the day. You have to be at the Team 10 house for a certain percentage of the day so that you can make collaborative content or whatever. There's curfews. There's all of this weird stuff.
Weird.
And it's really messed up because it's all revolves around Jake and stuff. So he's kind of the king of it, and so all these girls and guys are selling their soul to him, and he makes 10% of whatever you make.
Yeah,
it's really messed up.
Yeah.
But anyways, we don't have to talk about that anymore. Yeah. But we've actually been going for a long time. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about Jake Paul or anything? No, but seriously, is there any other stuff that you want to talk about or share on the podcast or anything?
I don't know.
If there's any last things that if people are out there, they want to get into music, or if people are lost, or if people are what kind of advice would you give to people, or
I'd say
words of wisdom?
For getting into music, I'd say really just find who you are. What your this is kind of a weird thing to say, but your musical identity of where you are with that, and then just work harder than everybody else at it. That's really all that it comes down to. There are people that are gifted, and there are people that are talented and stuff like that, but all of those people that are actually rise to the top and really do well and have fun with it have all worked really, really hard for it. So I'd say if you don't know what you want to do in your life, start thinking about it. I always start praying about it. Just start looking for things that fire you up. You know what I mean? That's usually the path for me. Is whenever I started finding what I wanted to do, it always lit me up. That's what I mean. So, but yeah, that's basically it. You know what I mean? Just do what you're passionate about. Don't let anybody tell you what to do in that sense. Yeah. I think that's one of the biggest things is if you have something that you want really bad or you feel like you need to do, then don't let people tell you not to do it. You know what I mean? Because it may be bigger than them. You never know. You know what I mean? So
that's very true. That is very, very true. Do you have any like current musical projects you're working on, or like if people want to like listen to your stuff or anything?
Right now, most of the stuff I'm doing is in the studio, so it's a little unreleased. But yeah, that's basically it. So right now I'm doing.
Are you in a band right now?
I'm playing with a band called Neverworn right now, but that's unreleased as well. So
okay, cool.
Yeah, but
world exclusive right here.
Yeah, world
What's
exclusive.
What's the band called?
Neverworn.
Neverworn.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of a cool name.
Yeah, it's cool.
I like that. Where'd you guys come up with that?
I have no idea.
Did you like join the band like later after they'd already been kind of formed, or like?
Kind of, not exactly. Like I joined it after the whole writing process took place, but
gotcha.
I think whoever came up with it, I was like, yeah, that's cool. So we just we went with it. So
there's a weird thing about names, man.
Yeah, they're really hard to come up with. That's for sure. You know.
Yeah, the Andrew Dice podcast, really original, huh?
Because you got to brand your whole life off of a name. So anyway, yeah, I'm doing that. Doing some studio sessions, playing at churches and stuff, and kind of just figuring out what I'm gonna do next step.
Nice.
Keep moving.
That's
forward.
Awesome. And you talked about you want to move to Nashville soon, right?
Or Nashville or LA. Yeah.
Nice.
That's what I'm thinking. So.
Cool, man. Well, keep us posted. If people want to like follow you or ask you questions or anything like that about music or whatever, where can they find you?
So Instagram, my Instagram is at Jon LaVaccare. Facebook, just all my handles are my name. So.
It's a good thing about having a kind of unique last name.
Yeah, they're all just one word, my name. So, you can always feel free to reach out to me. I love that. So,
awesome,
cool.
Dude.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me on.
Dude, I appreciate it, man.
Yeah.
This was really fun. So,
definitely.
Peace out, everybody. Boom. There it is, folks. Another great episode in the bank. Hope you guys enjoyed that one as much as I did. Make sure you go follow Jon on Instagram at Jon LaVaccare. That's all one word. JonLavaccare. Actually realized halfway through editing all this stuff that I was spelling his last name wrong this whole time. I had it with one C and two R's, but it's actually spelled with two C's and one R. So don't be a dingleberry like me and spell it correctly. I'm mainly just glad I was able to catch it before I uploaded the album artwork and everything. That would have been embarrassing if I misspelled his name. But anyways, make sure you go follow him. He's got a badass feed. The next episode is probably going to be a little weekly update. Maybe I'll do something about the solar eclipse. I'm supposed to be going up to Rabun, Georgia, with my friend Paul David. So we'll have to see how that goes. But I've got a few other things that have been bouncing around in my head, so I'm going to try to spill them out on that episode, and I'll let you guys know the guests I have coming out for next week. My goal has been to upload 10 full episodes per month, and I'm slacking a bit on that goal as of right now. So this coming week, I'm going to be ramping up the uploads, so stay tuned for that. And thank you guys so much for sticking it out to this point in the podcast. If you really want to support the podcast and keep this thing rolling, please, please, please share it with a friend. You might have someone that that you think might enjoy this. And also, go rate it 5 stars in the iTunes store. That really helps me out. If you want to follow me, just go to my website, andrewdeitsch.com. That's Andrew, DEITSCH.com. You can find links to all my social media accounts and stuff if you want to give me a follow. And thank you guys so much again for listening. And I will continue to have long-form conversations with fascinating humans. I really appreciate you guys, and I hope you guys have the best week ever. See you next time.